Chapter 51:30. Although Wu Qing's expression was still as cold as before, he did not lack etiquette. He hastily bowed and said, "Seniors, please know that this disciple was not pregnant in the Thunder Mountain range, but went to the Thunder Accumulation Cave with Master Lei Ting, so it did not affect you." Thunder Accumulation Cave? Hearing this, Thunder Meng Taoist unconsciously smiled. Before he was pregnant, he had also comprehended in the Thunder Accumulation Cave. Now Wu Qing was also pregnant near the Thunder Accumulation Cave. Thinking of fate, Thunder Meng Taoist unconsciously thought of Xiao Hua, whom he had almost forgotten. Thunder Meng Taoist's thoughts ran wild. The palace masters next to him quickly greeted Wu Qing. After a while, Fairy Xianhua stepped forward and said with a smile, "Wu Qing, now that you have reached the middle Yuanying stage, there are not many cultivators in my thunder controlling sect who can stand shoulder to shoulder with you. You don't have to be so humble. You should know that there is a custom in the three kingdoms of cultivation that after stepping into the Yuanying stage, there is no need to mention the previous seniority. New Yuanying cultivators should be treated according to the new seniority. Not to mention that Master Lei Ting is your master. In terms of seniority, this seat also has to call you senior." "No need." Wu Qing's face showed no joy, nor did he look flattered. He bowed and said, "This disciple is a junior. I don't want to overstep anything." "Haha, fine." Fairy Xianhua smiled and helped Wu Qing up, saying, "If this seat calls you senior, how will Thunder Meng Taoist, the palace master of your thunder-shaking palace, address you? It won't be easy for him to be the palace master." Fairy Xianhua's words were incomparably provocative, but unfortunately, Wu Qing simply didn't listen. He raised his eyes to look to the left and asked, "Junior would like to ask, are the four nascent soul disciples of the Thunder Plateau fighting for the position of Heavenly Thunder Palace's palace master?" "That's right." Fairy Xianhua nodded and said, "You came back at the right time. Stay here and accompany this seat to see who can become the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Junior has disappointed the sect master." Hearing this, Wu Qing nodded slightly and then said indifferently, "I can't stay here and watch the battle with Lord Sect Master. I also have to go down and fight for the position of Palace Master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace." "Ah!" Not to mention Fairy Xianhua, even Reverend Lei Tan and the others were shocked. Looking at Wu Qing, Lei Tan Taoist asked curiously, "Wu Qing, although you have received guidance from Sect Master Qian Lazy, you are still a disciple of my thunderous palace. If you want to be the palace master, this old man can give you the position of Thunderous Palace's palace master. Anyway, this old man's lifespan is nearing its end, and it is impossible for me to break through to the separating divinity realm in this lifetime. The position of Thunderclap Palace Lord belongs to Xiang Zhili. This junior does not dare to covet it." Wu Qing calmly told him about Master Qian Lei's arrangement. This junior has only received Master Qian Lei's instructions to take charge of the Heavenly Thunder Palace on his behalf. When Wu Qing said this, everyone was even more shocked. If Cui Hongshan could think of it, how could they not? Wu Qing. Seeing that Wu Qing was already threatening her position as the head of the sect, Fairy Xianhua coldly said, "This seat knows that your cultivation is profound, but unfortunately, you are a disciple of the Shocking Thunder Palace and have nothing to do with the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Everything you said, although you received Master Qian Lei's instructions, is just empty words. In the end, you are not qualified to participate in this battle for the position of the Palace Lord." Wu Qing did not hide his words from Spiritual Master Quangtian and the others. His return from the depths of the Thunder Mountain range had already caused the four people on the Thunder Plain to feel a sense of crisis. However, when they saw that Wu Qing was a disciple of the Myriad Thunder Valley, they felt relieved. When Wu Qing said that he received Master Qian Lei's instructions, they naturally felt the same as Fairy Xianhua, that Wu Qing was lying. However, Wu Qing did not refute. Instead, he took out a fist-sized, lightning-like purple seal from his bosom and said, "This junior has the Heavenly Thunder Palace Lord's seal as my witness." "Damn it!" Not waiting for Fairy Xianhua to say anything, Spiritual Master Quangtian roared, "Wu Qing, you are a disciple of the Shocking Thunder Palace. How dare you steal my Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Lord's seal? How should you be punished?" Spiritual Master Quangtian looked at the seal in Wu Qing's hand with mixed feelings in his heart. If it were not for this Palace Lord's seal, he would have already sat on the seat of Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Lord several decades ago. Of course, Spiritual Master Kuangtian knew the importance of the Palace Lord's seal. When Master Qianlei fell, Spiritual Master Kuangtian's first step was to look for this Palace Lord's seal. He searched the entire Heavenly Thunder Palace but did not find it. He also interrogated many disciples of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, but he never thought that Master Qianlei would give the Palace Lord's seal to a disciple of the Shocking Thunder Palace. Moreover, it was a qi refining disciple that he did not even look at. However, not only did Master Qianlei give it to him, but now Wu Qing even had the possibility of surpassing him. His dream of becoming the Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Lord was gradually becoming fainter and fainter, turning into an extravagant hope. Unfortunately, Wu Qing was not Fairy Xianhua, nor was he Xiang Zhili. Wu Qing simply ignored Spiritual Master Kuangtian and only looked at Fairy Xianhua, unwilling to say another word. Fairy Xianhua looked at the Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Lord seal in Wu Qing's hand and hesitated. She pondered for a moment and asked, Wu Qing, your Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Lord's seal. Master Qianlei gave it to you. Do you have any proof? Wu Qing replied, no. Since you don't have it, then you must have stolen it. Spiritual Master Kuangtian had already flown over and roared, quickly return this to my Heavenly Thunder Palace. As his figure flew closer, Spiritual Master Kuangtian waved his hand and unexpectedly grabbed the purple seal in Wu Qing's hand. Thunder Tablet Reverend was really impatient. He raised his hand. Boom! A force more tyrannical than Spiritual Master Kuangtian's came out of nowhere and blocked in front of Spiritual Master Kuangtian. In the collision, Spiritual Master Kuangtian's Yuanying hand was smashed to pieces. Thunder Tablet Reverend said coldly, we Palace Lords have yet to say anything. What qualifications do you, a Heavenly Thunder Palace disciple, have to speak? Based on this character alone, I don't agree with you being the Palace Lord of Heavenly Thunder Palace. Spiritual Master Kuangtian's figure was unstable, and he was sent flying several hundred meters in the air before he could stand still. He glanced at Thunder Tablet Reverend and laughed wildly. Thunder Tablet Reverend, this is my Heavenly Thunder Palace's matter, and it has nothing to do with your Thunderclap Palace. If you were the Palace Lord of my Imperial Thunder Sect, I would naturally listen to you. Unfortunately, you're just the Palace Lord of Thunderclap Palace. Your words, Tistiske, you really can't compare to Lord Palace Lord. Thunder Tablet Reverend was offended by Spiritual Master Kuangtian in public, and his anger surged. He berated, impudent. Lord Palace Lord. Spiritual Master Kuangtian ignored Thunder Tablet Reverend and flew close to 3,000 meters. He bowed to Fairy Xianhua and said, you must uphold justice for my Heavenly Thunder Palace. The matter is already very clear. Thunderclap Palace's scheme is not small. They are no longer satisfied with their own strength, and want to encroach on my Heavenly Thunder Palace. When Palace Lord Qianlei fell, his disciples searched everywhere for this seal. If Wu Qing was bestowed by Palace Lord Qianlei, he would certainly have the Palace Lord's token. Even if he didn't have the Palace Lord's token, he should have taken out the seal and announced the Palace Lord's will after the Palace Lord's fall. Why did Wu Qing not dare to take it out until today when we're about to compete for the position of Palace Lord of Heavenly Thunder Palace? Clearly, he has a guilty conscience and has been secretly coveting this opportunity. Furthermore, if the Deafening Thunder Palace controls my Heavenly Thunder Palace, the 8 Great Thunder Palaces will have the ability to go against them as equals. 2 Thunder Palaces will have to look up to a certain Thunder Palace Master. How could the plans of this Thunder Palace Master be as simple as it seems? Spiritual Master Kuangtian's words were directed at Thunder Tablet Reverend, and even hinted that Thunder Tablet Reverend coveted the position of Imperial Thunder Sect's Palace Lord. Although it was a provocation in Fairy Xianhua's ears, there was a faint resonance in her heart. Fairy Xianhua looked at Wu Qing and said indifferently, Wu Qing, you're not the Palace Lord of Heavenly Thunder Palace. You don't have the qualifications to wield this seal. How about giving it to me for safekeeping? Wu Qing refused without even thinking. Sorry, this is a gift from Palace Lord Qianlei. Forgive this junior for not agreeing. If it were Qianlei, perhaps he would look around and say with a smile, everyone, what do you think? But it was a pity that this was Fairy Xianhua. When she heard Wu Qing refuted her words, She immediately became slightly angry and said in a low voice, Wu Qing, don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you're a mid-nascent soul cultivator and a disciple personally taught by senior brother Qian Lazy. I'm the Palace Lord of Imperial Thunder Sect, and my words are the Palace Lord's decree. How dare you disobey? Wu Qing was not moved and said coldly, this junior has to obey Palace Lord's decree. But if Palace Lord wants to take away this junior's things, forgive this junior for not obeying. Cough cough. Fairy Xianfeng finally could not stand it anymore. She let out a low cough and said, Palace Lord, I have a few words that I don't know if I should say. Fairy Xianhua turned to look at Fairy Xianfeng and said with a smile, Junior sister Xianfeng, please speak. That year, senior brother Qian Lazy appointed I and junior brother Lei Meng to personally instruct Cui Yingying and Xiang Zhili of Myriad Thunder Valley, and he taught Wu Qing himself, Fairy Xianfeng said. I don't know what Wu Qing and Xiang Zhili's aptitudes are like. But I know Cui Yingying's aptitude very well. She's very rare in my Imperial Thunder Sect. And even in the 3 kingdoms of cultivation, she's extremely rare. Facts have also proven that senior brother Qian Lazy's decision was correct. Cui Yingying and Xiang Zhili have cultivated to nascent soul in just a few hundred years, which is very rare in the world. This kind of aptitude is very popular in anyone's eyes. Possible. I was willing to give the position of Palace Lord of Mythical Thunder Palace to Cui Yingying. Then look at Wu Qing. His aptitude and bearing are even better than Cui Yingying and Xiang Zhili's. At such a young age, he's already a mid-nascent soul cultivator. Before today, I wouldn't even have dared to think about it. It's normal for senior brother Qian Lazy to have a heart of appreciation for talent. The Palace Lord of Canlei Palace, Shishuanzi said unhappily, senior sister Xianfeng, if you want to be the Palace Lord of Mythical Thunder Palace, it's not only about cultivation, but also the ability to lead heroes. If you give the Mythical Thunder Palace to Cui Yingying, she'll definitely make a mess of it. Of course, Yingying isn't the best candidate for the Palace Lord. Fairy Xianfeng said with a smile, I already knew this so I never considered it. But as far as I know, Wu Qing is very calm, and his expression doesn't change even in the face of a landslide. Isn't such a calm cultivator the best candidate for the Palace Lord of Mythical Thunder Palace? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it and give it a tip. Thank you to Guff8547985, Falling Flower Intent, Flowing Water, and Cabbage for your support. /. Chapter 5131. The Palace Master of Sun Thunder Palace, Lei Tingzi, shook his head and said, if Wu Qing was given another 1,000 years, I would definitely agree. But now, he is too young and may not be suitable to be the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace. The Palace Master of Sun Thunder Palace, Fairy Jingfeng, was also young. She smiled and said, back then when I was in charge of Sun Thunder Palace, I seemed to be similar to Shang Yunzi. My cultivation was only at the late gold core stage, but under the protection of the Palace Master and the other Palace Masters, I was able to survive? That's true. Shang Yunzi smiled and said, although Wu Qing is young, his cultivation is frighteningly high. This calmness also far surpasses ours back then. Fairy Yaofeng smiled and said, in other words, the focus of our discussion is whether Wu Qing is suitable to be the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace, and not whether Wu Qing is qualified? This? Lei Tingzi and Zhishuanzi were at a loss for words. Whether or not Wu Qing was qualified and whether or not he was suitable were obviously two different issues. And from their intuition, they did not think that Wu Qing was not qualified to compete for the position of Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace. Fairy Yaofeng continued, I think that all of you are the same as I. You think that it must be senior brother Qian Lazy who likes Wu Qing's aptitude. But at that time, his cultivation was shallow and he was still a disciple of Sun Thunder Palace, so he did not rashly let him take charge of Heavenly Thunder Palace, and thus gave the Heavenly Thunder Palace's seal to Wu Qing. Of course, this is only our guess and cannot be taken seriously. So, I give Palace Master 2 suggestions. Please speak. Fairy Xianhua nodded. The first suggestion is. Fairy Yaofeng smiled and said, since Wu Qing was guided by Master Lei Tingzi, who was also the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace even earlier, Palace Master only needs to ask him to come out and verify whether this seal was personally given to Wuqing by senior brother Qian Lazy. If it is true, then let Wuqing take charge of Heavenly Thunder Palace. If it is false, then punish Wuqing. Fairy Xianhua frowned and said, Master Lei Ting is a spirit-severing stage senior. Even I haven't seen him for many years. I'm afraid it's not good to disturb his meditation for such a trivial matter. Fairy Xianhua wasn't surprised by Fairy Xianhua's reaction. She continued, my second suggestion is that since the sect master can't verify senior brother Qian Lazy's will, we'll take a step back and assume that this imperial seal was given to Wuqing by senior brother Qian Lazy. However, we won't hand the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace over to Wuqing right now. Instead, we'll let him participate in today's palace master battle. Beside them, Daoist Crazed Heaven was so infuriated that his nose was about to turn crooked. Fairy Yaofeng had been talking for half a day, but in the end, she still supported Wuqing's participation in the palace master battle. Moreover, if he didn't agree to Wuqing's participation, Wuqing would directly take over the palace master battle. He couldn't help but cry out, Fairy Yaofeng, I don't agree with your two suggestions. Your two suggestions are based on the fact that Senior Qian Lazy gave the imperial seal to Wuqing. Humph. Fairy Yaofeng sneered and said, Quangtian, senior brother Qian Lazy is a late nascent soul stage cultivator. His magical abilities are far beyond what you and I know. Wuqing is a gold core stage cultivator. How could he steal the imperial seal from senior brother Qian Lazy? Moreover, when senior brother Qian Lazy fell, you were all in the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Did you see Wuqing's figure? Besides, Quangtian, if you have the ability, go steal the imperial seal of a palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Without another word, I'll be the first to support you to be the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. If you don't have the ability, don't blame others for being one step ahead of you. And we also agree with senior sister Yaofeng's suggestion. Shang Yunzi looked at Fairy Jingfeng. The two of them took the initiative to express their views. If we don't ask Master Lei Ting to verify the authenticity of this imperial seal, we should let Wuqing go to the racing thunder plane. Lei Tingzi and Zhishuanzi looked at each other and didn't say anything. They already understood that with Jian Lei Palace and Converted Lei Palace's agreement, as well as Distant Lei Palace and Shocking Lei Palace, for out of the 7 major Lei Palaces supported Wuqing, it was useless for them to say anything more. All right. Fairy Xianhua nodded and said, since everyone supports Wuqing going to the Racing Thunder Plane, then this seat agrees that Wuqing will go to the Racing Thunder Plane and participate in the battle for the Palace Master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Thank you, Lord Sect Master. Wuqing was still expressionless. He put away the purple imperial seal and bowed. Looking at Daoist Quangtian, he snorted and turned into a gust of wind. Looking at Daoist Quangtian's back, the faces of the 7 major Lei Palace's palace masters were either filled with sneers, disdain, regret, or so on and so forth. Fairy Xianhua looked at the dark night and the bright moon hanging high in the sky. High up in the sky where the 7 racing thunder plane used to be, 7 huge balls of lightning had replaced it, emitting strange lightning that illuminated the Thunder Mountain range. Her heart suddenly relaxed a lot. 2 nascent soul disciples had successfully conceived their nascent souls, and 1 mid-stage nascent soul disciple had returned. This really made the Imperial Thunder Sect's strength rise to a new level. Her face also carried the excitement of an ordinary disciple. She said, Disciples of the Imperial Thunder Sect, thank our Imperial Thunder Sect's ancestral masters for their protection. Our Imperial Thunder Sect has gained another 3 nascent soul grandmasters. This is rare even in the country of Shi and the 3 kingdoms of cultivation. What's more, Wuqing has been exhorted by Master Qian Lazy and carefully guided by Master Lei Ting. Today he has returned at the right time. The position of Palace Master of my Heavenly Thunder Palace is vacant, and he has the intention to contribute more to our Imperial Thunder Sect, so I can't stop him. Therefore, I announce that I agree to let Wuqing participate in the battle for the position of Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace. But Fairy Xianhua's words were like a ladle of water being poured into a pot of hot oil. All the disciples of the Imperial Thunder Sect exploded. Some shouted, some whispered, some were excited, and some were dissatisfied. After all the palace masters came from their own lay palaces, and there was no exception since the establishment of Imperial Thunder Sect. They could not accept it at once, and some disciples of Heavenly Thunder Palace even shouted and wanted to fly out to protest. Taoist Quangtian sneered and just watched indifferently. Humph! Reverend Thundermeng was the first to speak. Disciples of Thunderclap Palace, quiet down. The disciples of Thunderclap Palace were naturally excited. Hearing Reverend Thundermeng's order, they immediately shut their mouths and watched quietly. Disciples of Mythical Thunder Palace. Fairy Xianfeng was even more serious. With just 5 words, the disciples of Mythical Thunder Palace no longer dared to make a sound. In just a short moment, all the 7 lay palaces quieted down. Even if the disciples of Heavenly Thunder Palace who supported Taoist Quangtian wanted to make a fuss, when they saw that the surrounding disciples had already quieted down, they shrunk their necks and landed. Disciples? Fairy Xianhua looked around and spoke again. The palace masters of each lightning palace are all disciples of their own lay palaces. This is the usual practice. However, it is not impossible to break. Just like the establishment of the palaces, it is also common sense and not impossible to clean up. Looking at the country of Xi, after the great battle of the Tao of Sword, the power of sword cultivators infiltrated Tao cultivators, and Heavenly Demon Sect took over the entire Dawn Rain continent. The situation of the entire world changed greatly. Our Imperial Thunder Sect's strength has already gradually declined. If we still remain stagnant and conservative, I'm afraid we will be eliminated by Tao cultivators sooner or later, and become a small second-rate sect. The foundation that our patriarch established for thousands of years will be destroyed. Therefore, today's 100 Palace competition is the first revolution, and the Palace Master Battle of Heavenly Thunder Palace is the second. I hope our Imperial Thunder Sect can maintain its stability under this vigorous revolution, and forever stand in the Lamo mountain range of the country of Xi. Oh! Hearing Fairy Xianhua's words, Thunder Talisman Taoist was startled. He unconsciously raised his eyebrows and looked at Fairy Xianhua. Thunder Talisman Taoist did not know if Fairy Xianhua's words came from the bottom of her heart, or if Fairy Xianhua was unable to step down from the stage and decided to string the matters of the two sects together. Could it be? Looking at Fairy Xianhua's calm expression, Thunder Talisman Taoist thought inwardly, Fairy Xianhua is not as ignorant as this old man thought? Fairy Xianhua did not pay attention to the others. Seeing that Wuqing had already landed on the Thunder Arena, she spoke, "Disciples on the Thunder Arena, listen to my command." Unfortunately, before Fairy Xianhua could give the order, 2 people on the Thunder Arena flew up at the same time and shouted, "Lord Sect Master, we have something to say." Damn it! Fairy Xianhua had a bad temper. Seeing the twists and turns in the Palace Master Battle of Heavenly Thunder Palace, she could not help but angrily shout, "What is the meaning of this?" The 2 who flew up were Qian Qingzi and Qian Fengjiu. They flew in front of Fairy Xianhua, bowed and said, "Junior has something to report." If she could use vulgarities, Fairy Xianhua would not mind giving them the, "If you have something to say, just say it." She held back her anger and said, "Speak." Reporting to Sect Master, Qian Qingzi said with a smile, "We are all disciples of Heavenly Thunder Palace, and know the importance of the Palace Master position. The reason why the Palace Master position has been undecided for dozens of years is because our Heavenly Thunder Palace does not have a suitable disciple. We also agreed with Kuang Tianran vying for the position of Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. However, he has no experience in handling palace affairs and his temper is slightly irritable. We feel that if we don't take him down a notch with his arrogance, I'm afraid the Heavenly Thunder Palace will not have peace in the future. Therefore we joined forces and wanted to compete with him on the Thunder Field. And now Wu Qing from Thunderquake Palace has also come out to compete for the position of Palace Master. We don't know much about Wu Qing, but we believe in Sect Master Qian Lazy's foresight, and even more so in Wu Qing's cultivation. Even if Wu Qing can't seize the position of Palace Master, he can still give Taoist crazed heaven a head-on blow, letting him understand that strength alone is not enough to convince the masses. If the 2 of us are on the Thunder Arena, we will definitely be biased towards Wu Qing or Wild Heaven Taoist. This way, no matter who it is, it will be unfair. Therefore, the 2 of us have chosen to withdraw. Fairy Xianhua was originally angry, but after hearing Qian Qingzi and Qian Fengjiu's words, She unconsciously clapped her hands and said, "Good. The two of you are originally the palace masters of Thunder Palace and Thunder Palace. If we are talking about qualifications that are deeper than Wild Heaven Taoist, then if it were not for your limited strength, the two of you would also be worthy of being the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace." Previously, this seat thought that the two of you would fight for the palace master position, but this seat really did not expect that the two of you would retreat in the face of difficulties. This retreat is not because you are afraid, but for the stability of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, for the stability of my Imperial Thunder sect. This is a good step back. Retreat with dignity. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, cast a monthly vote, cast a recommendation vote, bookmark, reward, and thank you for all forms of support. Thank you to Guff8547985, Falling Flowers Intent, Flowing Water Love, Cabbage, and other fellow Taoists for their support. /. Chapter 5132. Disciples' thoughts aren't as far-sighted as sect masters. Qian Fengju hurriedly bowed. Disciple and the others aren't worthy of sect master's praise. And you may leave. Fairy Xianhua smiled and said, "In a few days, I will bestow rewards to all of you. Thank you, sect master." Qian Fengju and Qian Qingzi bowed and retreated. Fairy Xianhua looked up at the Thunder Arena. At this time there were only 3 people on the arena. Wu Qing first stood in the center of the arena, waiting for Qian Fengju and Qian Qingzi to leave. His figure flashed and landed in a corner, forming a triangle with Taoist Quangtian and Taoist Swift Wind. "Listen to my command," Fairy Xianhua said and paused for a moment. Seeing that there were no more abnormalities, she continued, "The battle for the Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace shall now begin." As Fairy Xianhua's voice fell, several muffled booms rang out. Among the lightning balls that covered the 8 great lightning palaces, 3 of them slowly rotated and moved towards the Thunder Arena. In just a few moments, the area within 100 miles of the Thunder Arena was shrouded in lightning. Wu Qing, Taoist Quangtian, and Taoist Swift Wind stood quietly on the Thunder Arena. No one rushed to make the first move. "Damn it!" Taoist Quangtian stared at Wu Qing. He knew in his heart that his greatest opponent in this battle was Wu Qing. If Taoist Swift Wind wasn't there, he would definitely move and use his divine ability to attack Wu Qing. However, with Taoist Swift Wind here, Taoist Quangtian didn't dare to agree. Although Taoist Swift Wind was an early nascent soul cultivator, he was still a nascent soul master. It wasn't difficult for him to be a fisherman. "Quangtian." Suddenly, Taoist Swift Wind's voice sounded in Taoist Quangtian's ears. "This old man originally joined forces with Qian Fengju and the others, but I didn't expect them to flee. Before they left, they sent me a voice transmission, wanting me to advance and retreat with them. This old man's strength isn't as good as yours and Wu Qing's, but this old man feels that the Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace should be a disciple of my Heavenly Thunder Palace. The other disciples of the 7 great lightning palaces aren't qualified. However, we can't disobey sect master's orders. So this old man has chosen to stay and help you repel Wu Qing." Taoist Crazed Heaven was delighted, but he didn't dare to trust Taoist Swift Wind too much because he didn't know much about him. It was only after Swift Wind Sage had participated in the competition for the position of Palace Master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace that Crazy Heaven had investigated Swift Wind Sage's background. Before Jeffing Immortal became a baby, his name was Qian Cheng. He was a disciple of the Imperial Thunder Sea. The Imperial Thunder Sect had 3 Thunder Forbidden Grounds: the 1,000 Thunder Mountain, the 10,000 Thunder Valley, and the Imperial Thunder Sea. Previously, the Imperial Thunder Sea belonged to the Shocking Thunder Palace, but because of its importance, it was transferred to the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Qian Cheng was from the Imperial Thunder Sea. The Imperial Thunder Sea was similar to the Myriad Thunder Valley in that it was an absolute chore. The disciples of the Imperial Thunder Sea were simply not worthy of Taoist Crazed Heaven's attention. Similarly, Qian Cheng of the Royal Thunder Sea was also a very low-key disciple before she became pregnant. She never appeared in the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Due to the unique geography of the Royal Thunder Sea and the vast sea of thunder inside, it was also a good place to temper the cultivation of cultivators. Although Qian Cheng's advancement was slow in this kind of difficult situation, She was very solid. After the change in the Myriad Thunder Valley, the Royal Thunder Sect increased the defense of the Thousand Thunder Mountain and the Royal Thunder Sea, mobilizing more disciples to guard these two important places. Only then did Qian Cheng have a chance to leave the Royal Thunder Sea. After leaving the Royal Thunder Sea, Qian Cheng only stayed dormant for 10 years, but immediately showed signs of soaring. Her cultivation and realm increased rapidly, and she even stepped into the nascent soul stage 20 years before Qian Lazy's death. However, after becoming pregnant, Swift Wind Sage still kept a low profile. In addition to recruiting more disciples, he didn't participate in the affairs of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Therefore, Crazy Heaven had only heard of his name before and didn't pay much attention to it. In particular, before Wu Qing appeared, Crazy Heaven was facing 3 disciples in the early nascent soul stage. How could he not know that the 3 had already discussed it? At this time, when he heard Swift Wind Sage's voice transmission, he naturally had some doubts. Crazy Heaven had a bad temper, but he was also straightforward. He directly asked, "What benefits do you want?" "It's very simple," Swift Wind Sage said with a smile. "Qian Qingzi promised me the Rumbling Thunder Hall Master. Since he gave in, then High Thunder Hall." "Well said." Crazy Heaven was overjoyed and replied, "If you can help me, not to mention High Thunder Hall, I can even give you Rumbling Thunder Hall." "Good." Swift Wind Sage was also overjoyed and said, "Although I didn't want to let the disciples of Rumbling Thunder Palace meddle in the affairs of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, since the Palace Lord is so generous, I will respectfully accept." After saying that, Swift Wind Sage whistled and his body turned into a stream of light, pouncing on Wu Qing. As the stream of light gradually approached, clang, 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 a series of sword sounds rose into the sky. A flying sword condensed from lightning flew out of Swift Wind Sage's body and fiercely stabbed at Wu Qing. Wu Qing was similar to Crazy Heaven's thought. He almost didn't put Swift Wind Sage in his eyes and only paid attention to Crazy Heaven's movements. Seeing Swift Wind Sage make the first move, how could he not know what Swift Wind Sage was planning? However, Wu Qing still let out a faint sound of surprise. His expression didn't change and he waved his hand. Wu! A fist shadow of a few feet in size flew out and met the flying sword like a meteor. Isn't this child underestimating his opponent too much? Seeing Wu Qing use his fist to meet Swift Wind Sage's lightning sword, Thunder Sage frowned and thought to himself, after all, Swift Wind Sage is also a Yuanying master. However, in just a moment, Thunder Sage's face revealed a shocked expression. Because as the fist shadow flew out, a hurricane immediately appeared in the vicinity of a few miles. Countless small vortexes were born along with the hurricane, and then twisted and elongated. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth turned into strands of sparkling crystal silk, and fell into the fist shadow. When it flew out several hundred feet, the fist shadow had expanded to several dozen feet. Not only that, on the fist shadow, there were clearly visible lightning patterns that became clearer as the fist grew bigger. When the lightning patterns were revealed, lightning threads fell from the void and a series of condensed thunder sounds faintly emerged from the fist, like the roar of the thunder god. What kind of secret technique is this? Even someone as strong as Reverend Lei Meng was dumbfounded. He had already discovered 2 strange points. Firstly, the speed at which Wu Qing condensed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was extremely fast, many times faster than ordinary cultivators. Even he himself could not compare with Wu Qing. Second, the lightning patterns on the fist seemed to be innate. If it wasn't some secret technique, then Wu Qing had the innate ability to control lightning. Thunder Sage couldn't help but groan. Could it be? Wu Qing, Lear and Yingying's lightning core power is far beyond this old man's imagination? Or perhaps these 3 people have some kind of opportunity. Just as the lightning and fists were about to collide, another rumbling sound could be heard. Crazy Heaven made his move. He opened his mouth and a spear-shaped magic treasure fell into the air. This magic treasure was a few inches long and was covered with runes. It was covered with a layer of lightning that let out a rumbling sound. Madman Tian raised his hand and pointed at Wu Qing. Then he blew out a mouthful of true energy, causing the lightning spear to emit a dazzling light that shook the surrounding space. It was even more arrogant than the Swift Wind Taoist lightning sword and Wu Qing's fist combined as it rushed towards Wu Qing. Fairy Yao Feng snorted and said, The two of them actually joined hands to deal with Wu Qing. This is really beyond this old woman's expectations. Senior sister, you think too much. Lei Tingzi laughed. Now there are only 3 people on the Thunder Arena. No matter how they fight, it will be 2 against 1. It can't be fair. Besides, it would be strange if the 2 Heavenly Thunder Palace disciples didn't join hands. Sheng Yunzi said meaningfully. Now it seems that Qian Qingzi and Qian Fengju's withdrawal also has a deeper meaning. Zhe Xuanzi said indifferently. It's more than just a deeper meaning. It's simply a clever move. The Heavenly Thunder Palace is indeed full of talents. These 2 palace masters are amazing. On one hand, they received the sect master's praise. On the other hand, they won the praise of all the disciples. On the other hand, they also got rid of the Heavenly Thunder Palace's bad reputation of joining hands to resist Wu Qing. Damn it! Not only were the masters of the 7 Thunder Palaces worried about Wu Qing, but the disciples of the Myriad Thunder Valley were also anxious. Even Cui Yingying clasped her hands together and cursed in a low voice. Eldest senior brother, shall we join them? On the other hand, Xiang Zhili replied lazily, this is not like when we fought with the other disciples of the Thunder Palace when we were young. How can we go just like that? Don't worry, Wu Qing has a way. It's not like you don't know that he's the most scheming? But Cui Yingying still wanted to say something. Ooh. A whimpering sound suddenly rose from where Wu Qing's left hand was, and a fist-sized black shadow flew out from Wu Qing's hand. As Wu Qing raised his hand and pointed, pieces of brilliant light fell like blooming epiphyllum, and an 8-sided hammer flew out from the brilliant light. This hammer had a handle that was shaped like lightning. 8 thunder patterns were engraved on the 8 sides of the hammer, and the thunder patterns on each side condensed into a unique rune. The rune emitted a brilliance of different colors. Streaks of thunder fell into the rune from the void, and 8 clear shadows of ancient characters emerged from the hammer. They were respectively Qian Kuan, Qinli Zhanzhen Sen Dui. As soon as the 8 runes appeared, a nameless power emerged from the hammer and rushed toward Kuang Tian. Humph! Sage Jifeng snorted coldly and thought to himself, no wonder he didn't dare to activate his magic weapon to resist Ai's thunder sword. It turns out that he was afraid of Kuang Tian's attack. However, how can you be Ai's opponent with just this fist? As he spoke, Sage Jifeng's thunder sword had already pierced Wu Qing's fist. Boom! With a loud sound, Wu Qing's fist shadow suddenly exploded, and the sound of beating drums that had been brewing earlier mixed with a river of thunder water poured into the thunder sword. In an instant, hundreds of thunder lights were annihilated, and the thunder sword shadow collapsed inch by inch, revealing the original form of the thunder sword. Similarly, the thunder light of Wu Qing's fist was also defeated by the sword light, revealing the dark fist inside. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it and reward it. Thank you to Half Sentence Jinshire for your reward. /. Chapter 51:33. Bang! In the blink of an eye, the fist broke through the sword's radiance and hit the thunder sword. Clang! The thunder sword let out a mournful cry as it was knocked into the air. Damn it! Sage Windstorm cursed. His body trembled as if he had been struck by lightning, and his face turned pale. He couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, How is this possible? This guy can actually block my magic treasure with his body? So how can I fight with this guy? There was a huge gap between the nascent soul early stage and the nascent soul middle stage, but Taoist Master Jifeng did not think that there would be an insurmountable gap between him and Heartless, who had just stepped into the nascent soul middle stage. However, if his magic weapon could not withstand the opponent's fist, was there any suspense in this fight? Sure enough, Wu Qing ignored Swift Wind Spiritual Master's warning. He immediately waved his right arm, and the fist disappeared. His figure rushed to Wild Heaven Spiritual Master's side. Obviously, he attached great importance to Wild Heaven. The lightning spear and the lightning hammer collided as expected. On the lightning spear, the purple lightning that could destroy a mountain peak was like the roar of a mad heaven as it poured down on the lightning hammer. On the lightning hammer, 8 lightning runes also left its body and condensed into a purple lightning hammer that hit the tip of the lightning spear. Boom! A roar that was several times louder than the previous one rang out. On the thunder hammer, spiderweb-like cracks rapidly appeared. Near the thunder spear, the void distorted. A strong spatial power leaked out, swallowing the brilliance of the thunder spear inch by inch. Kill. Heartless and Sage Windstorm roared at almost the same time. When the lightning faded, the thunder spear and the thunder hammer were revealed. The two magic treasures that were rarely seen by ordinary cultivators, under the full power of two middle nascent soul stage cultivators, created hundreds of spatial cracks on the tip of one of the magic treasures, while the other tore several inches of the void apart. Before the two magic weapons touched, the void in the middle had collapsed. Layers of dark space cracks appeared like huge tentacles, and the void cracks also flew out in the air. Unfortunately, in the blink of an eye, these void cracks were destroyed by the two magic weapons. Boom! Another loud noise sounded. The space in the nearest few miles was extremely shaken. The lightning in the thunder field was swaying, almost annihilated. Wow! The disciples of the Imperial Thunder Sect had never seen such a shocking battle, and they couldn't help but cry out in surprise. The surprised voices of the disciples didn't stop, but they saw Crazy Heaven waving his hand to put away the lightning spear, sitting down cross-legged, and patting his own head. A nascent soul wearing a 5-colored spirit armor jumped out from the top of Crazy Heaven's head. As soon as the nascent soul appeared, it immediately moved its hands, and hundreds of crystal lights fell into the void, covering the surrounding dozens of miles of space with lightning. In a moment, it was imprisoned by Crazy Heaven's nascent soul. At the same time, Spiritual Master Jifeng, who was facing Crazy Heaven, also sat down cross-legged, but he didn't release his nascent soul. Instead, he rubbed his hands and crystal lights fell into the void, imprisoning several miles of space. Ooh! The sound of wind whistling was heard again. Crazy Heaven's nascent soul and Spiritual Master Jifeng raised their hands at the same time. One was a giant lightning hand several acres in size, and the other was a nascent soul hand several acres in size. They surrounded Wu Qing and grabbed him. This move of Crazy Heaven and Spiritual Master Jifeng was more insidious than before. Between the two big hands, not to mention the space around Wu Qing was firmly imprisoned. Every inch of space was as hard as rock, and even the whole thunder field was imprisoned. Wu Qing found it difficult to breathe. Xiangzhili sneered, "It's really funny, can you be more despicable? You're all nascent soul masters, but you're still so shameless, using the hands of nascent soul to attack. Isn't it a direct competition of magical power? If Wu Qing was an ordinary nascent soul middle stage cultivator, wouldn't he have the same strength as Crazy Heaven? Isn't the early nascent soul stage Spiritual Master Jifeng the straw that broke the camel's back?" Unfortunately, Wu Qing was not an ordinary cultivator. Seeing the two huge nascent soul hands fall, Wu Qing's face didn't show any surprise. He just glanced at them indifferently, raised his hand and clapped. Similarly, a nascent soul flew out from his head. This nascent soul was somewhat different from Crazy Heaven's nascent soul. The nascent soul didn't wear any spiritual armor. On the surface of the naked nascent soul, there were many lightning patterns that seemed to be natural runes all over the body. An indescribable power was born from these runes. Wu Qing's nascent soul was similar to his physical body. Sitting cross-legged, its two small hands grabbed towards the sky. In the space imprisoned by the nascent soul hands, countless magical power tenaciously penetrated like strands of hair and rushed straight into the sky. Boom! 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 Loud rumbles rang out again, and thunderclouds that were tens of miles in size appeared out of thin air above the thunder arena. As the thunderclouds rolled, more than 100 thunderbolts that were as thick as a child's arm rushed towards the imprisoned space like horned dragons. Thunderbolts poured down like a torrent, and the space that was as solid as a mountain rock was shattered in an instant. Buzz buzz, the space was shattered into pieces, and the two huge Yuanying hands were also broken into thousands of tiny pieces. Not only Fairy Xianhua, but all the masters of Thunder Palace sucked in a cold breath. They looked at each other, and there was a look of disbelief in their eyes. Fairy Yao Feng even asked junior brother Lei Meng, What do you think?" Shaking his head with a wry smile, Reverend Lei Meng said, "Wu Qing's response is far beyond Ai's expectations. Although Kuang Tian's thunderous hands and Swift Wind Daoist's nascent soul hands seemed to be in perfect harmony, in fact, Swift Wind Taoist's nascent soul hands are at a disadvantage. In my opinion, if Wu Qing were to counterattack, he could have used the same nascent soul hands to crush Swift Wind Taoist's nascent soul hands, and simply ignored Kuang Tian's thunderous hands. When Wu Qing crushed Swift Wind Taoist's nascent soul hands, he would have set off a storm of natural energy, and even created spatial cracks, which would have been enough to block the thunderous hands. However, Wu Qing did not choose the simplest and most advantageous shortcut, but chose the most difficult method, and this method was not used by a nascent soul cultivator. It is his best technique, the art of attracting lightning. That's right, Fairy Yao Feng said with a smile. It is extremely difficult for others to use the art of attracting lightning, but Yingying Xiangjili and Wu Qing seem to be born with it, and can use it casually. When one reaches Wu Qing's level, the power of the art of attracting lightning is no small matter. In I's opinion, with Wu Qing's original strength and this art of attracting lightning, I'm afraid he can contend with a late nascent soul cultivator. Although Wu Qing looks cold, he is also quite scheming. Although Zhu Xuanzi did not like the 10,000 Thunder Valley, seeing that Wu Qing had already grasped the initiative on the battlefield, he knew that the winner of this battle for the Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace would definitely be Wu Qing if nothing unexpected happened. Therefore, he also spoke up. He used his absolute strength to deter the two challengers from the Heavenly Thunder Palace, wanting to achieve the effect of not shedding any blood. Lei Tingzi sneered and said, if Wu Qing's opponent was someone else, this move would naturally work. But his opponent is Kuang Tian Taoist, who calls himself Kuang Tian. He is originally arrogant, so how could he put such a small deterrent in his eyes? In particular, he has been scheming for the position of Heavenly Thunder Palace Lord for dozens of years, so how could he give it up in the end and make a wedding dress for others? Sure enough, under the heavy blow of the Heavenly Thunder, Kuang Tian Taoist's lightning hand quickly collapsed, and the power of the backlash was like a rising tide, rushing toward Kuang Tian Taoist. Kuang Tian Taoist's yuanying was really full of lightning, and his face was strangely flushed. Not daring to be negligent, the yuanying hurriedly entered his physical body. When Kuang Tian Taoist opened his eyes were unexpectedly blood red. Damn it! Kuang Tian Taoist roared. His right arm shook, and the lightning spear strangely appeared in his right hand. Then, Kuang Tian suddenly raised his hand. Rumble! The long spear pierced into the air, and hundreds of lightning bolts turned into spirit snakes that pounced on the incoming force. At the same time, Kuang Tian opened his mouth. Ooh! A wolf-like roar came out of his mouth. Immediately, a fist-sized lightning bolt appeared on top of his head. This lightning bolt had 8 colors and was shaped like a lotus. An indescribable power was born from this lightning bolt, and disappeared into the nearby void. This Fairy Xianhua frowned and looked at Kuang Tian Taoist with some puzzlement. What kind of method is this? How can it be so powerful? But it doesn't seem to be a secret technique of my Imperial Thunder sect? Thinking of this, Fairy Xianhua's heart stirred. Looking at the disciples of Heavenly Thunder Palace in the distance, she saw Qian Diheng, the master of the Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce, looking at them with interest with a smile on his face. Fairy Xianhua already understood that this was a secret technique that the Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce had obtained from other places in the Cultivation 3 Kingdoms. In the blink of an eye, the lightning spear above Kuang Tian Taoist's head changed. Like a flower blooming, the lightning spear waved out threads of lightning, and the center of the lightning spear turned into a fist-sized whirlpool. The lightning spear entered the void, and the whirlpool gave birth to a powerful suction force that spread to the sky. Rumble! In the whistling of the wind, countless spiritual energy of heaven and earth crashed into this whirlpool. In just a few breaths, a hurricane funnel the size of several mu had already formed above Kuang Tian Taoist's head. When the hurricane fell into the whirlpool, it instantly turned into crystal-like threads of lightning that entered Kuang Tian Taoist's head. As the threads of lightning entered, Kuang Tian Taoist's body flashed with lightning. His joints overflowed with the sound of thunder, and his body rapidly expanded. Thunder Dharma body? This is the Thunder Dharma body. Fairy Xianhua's heart fiercely jumped, and she bitterly said to herself, when did this Thunder Dharma body become so worthless? When senior brother Qian Leizi was still alive, he was the only one who could use it. Today I just used it and then Xiangjili and Wu Qing appeared. If it's not unexpected, then Wu Qing should also be able to use it. Unexpectedly, Kuang Tian Daoist can also use it. Alas, is it that my imperial thunder sex strength has improved? Or is it that I'm no longer strong enough to suppress them? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark and reward. Thank you for all forms of support. Thank you to Half Sentence Jinshire for your reward. /. Chapter 5134. With the help of the secret technique, Crazy Heaven activated his Thunder Dharma body, which instantly grew to a height of more than 10 zhang. The thunder spear in his right hand also slowly grew as the lightning surged in. A thunder war god was about to take shape. Seeing Crazy Heaven's Thunder Dharma body produce an indescribable deterrence that gradually enveloped the entire thunder arena, Wu Qing was still not particularly moved. His nascent soul only watched calmly. When Crazy Heaven's gaze was like lightning, as if provoking him, the nascent soul that was covered with lightning patterns returned to his body. When Wu Qing opened his eyes, he faintly swept a glance at the incoming power. With a flash of his body, he flew to one side of the thunder arena for a moment, pulling away from Crazy Heaven. Wu Qing didn't seem to have done anything, but countless thunderous sounds were produced from the void near him. Then a series of sounds spread to the sky. In just a few breaths, the other half of the thunder arena was enveloped by this thunderstorm. The Swift Wind Spiritual Master, who had been reduced to a supporting role, was awkwardly pushed to the edge of the thunder arena by the thunderstorm sounds and the power of the Thunder Dharma body. However, the Swift Wind Spiritual Master wasn't discouraged. He hastily patted his own head, and a strange whistling sound of wind also rose. A suction force was produced from the surface of his body. This suction force rushed into the sky, trying its best to snatch the spiritual chi of heaven and earth that was occupied by Wu Qing and Crazy Heaven. As the spiritual chi of heaven and earth entered his body, Swift Wind Spiritual Master's body flashed with faint threads of lightning. His whole body changed, and a shadow gradually appeared on the surface of his body. Obviously, he also wanted to activate his Dharma body to cooperate with Crazy Heaven. Unfortunately, before his Dharmakaya could show its embryonic form, the thunderstorm controlled by Wu Qing suddenly appeared on the left side of the thunder arena. Thousands of thunderstorms bloomed like fireworks, and thousands of thunderbolts rushed out from the thunderstorm and entered Wu Qing's body like thousands of streams returning to their origin. Ah! Seeing so many thunderbolts hitting Wu Qing, even Fairy Xianhua couldn't help but open her mouth in surprise and cry out, "What is Wu Qing doing? Just wait and see." Thunder Meng Daoist's eyes were as bright as the stars, truly as bright as the morning star high up in the sky. He seemed to have understood something and answered somewhat excitedly, "Perhaps Wu Qing has some sort of surprise for us." Sure enough, as Thunderbolt Spiritual Master's voice fell, Merciless let out a long howl towards the sky. His originally ordinary body suddenly flashed with blinding lightning. Within this lightning, countless lightning runes emerged from the surface of Merciless' body. These lightning runes spun madly and vibrated madly. Under these lightning runes, purplish-black scales began to spread. These scales were only the size of a thumb at first, but as Merciless' body expanded, so did the scales. Moreover, under the scales, Wu Qing's originally pale skin became even darker. Faint lightning gradually condensed on the surface of his pitch-black body between the scales. Not only that, but as Wu Qing's body mutated, two pitch-black wings sprouted from Wu Qing's back. The pressure of a mid-nascent soul stage cultivator gradually appeared around Wu Qing, and as Wu Qing's body grew stronger and stronger in the end, when Wu Qing's body had expanded to 200 feet, the pressure he exuded had reached the late-nascent soul stage. Wu Qing actually had the strength of a late-nascent soul stage cultivator. At this moment, Wu Qing had already transformed into the Thunder Beast's celestial body. This celestial body was pitch black, and its body was covered in scales. Each scale was several feet in size. Behind the celestial body, a pair of wings that were several hundred feet in size flapped in the air. Countless purplish-black lightning flashed from these wings. Looking at Wu Qing's originally ice-cold face, it had now become indigo. A layer of fine scales covered his entire face. His two eyes protruded slightly, and layers of golden light shone from his bell-like eyes. His originally thin, pursed lips were now sharp and protruding, like a bird's beak. As for the top of his head, flaming lightning lit up the entire lightning arena. The pressure comparable to a late nascent soul stage cultivator was emitted from this lightning. After Wu Qing displayed the Thunder Beast's celestial body, except for the wings on his back, his arms had expanded to several hundred feet in length. The thunder hammer that he had previously summoned was now in his right hand. The thunder hammer was several hundred feet in size, and it flashed with lightning. Its power was boundless. No, it can't be. Fairy Xianhua was dumbfounded, and Fairy Yao Feng and the other palace masters were dumbfounded. They really did not expect that Wu Qing, who had just stepped into the middle nascent soul stage, would have the strength of a late nascent soul stage cultivator after transforming into the Thunder Beast's celestial body. If that was the case, not to mention the Heavenly Thunder Palace, even the entire Thunder controlling sect, would be hard to find a match for him. Thunder Talisman Reverend was not that surprised. After all, he had seen Xiang Zhili display his strength. As for Fairy Yao Feng, she naturally revealed a wry smile. Cui Yingying would never display such an ugly Thunder Beast celestial body, unless it was a matter of life and death. Thunder Talisman Reverend smiled, looked at Fairy Yao Feng, and said in a low voice, "The matter is settled." Fairy Yao Feng shook her head slightly, and even stole a glance at Fairy Xianhua. Although she did not say a word, her expression showed that she would not be surprised even if Wu Qing took down the Thunder controlling sect master. Damn it! If Fairy Yao Feng could think of it, how could Fairy Xianhua not think of it? In addition to the bitterness in her mouth, Fairy Xianhua also felt a strong uneasiness and unwillingness in her heart. She already knew Master Qianlei's intention, and she also knew the role of Wu Qing. She could not help but curse in a low voice, biting her lips tightly, and watching how Wu Qing defeated Kuang Tian. Everything seemed to be settled, but Kuang Tian was not moved. Seeing the pressure of Wu Qing's Thunder Beast celestial body firmly suppressing him, his eyes turned blood red, and his huge Thunder Beast celestial body continued to expand rapidly. When his celestial body had expanded to more than 1,000 feet in size, Kuang Tian roared again and spat out a mouthful of blood essence. As he waved his hands, a thick crystal light rushed into his blood essence, and with the incantation, the blood essence also turned into the shape of thunder fire. Boom! When the thunder fire reached its peak, Kuang Tian sent it into his Thunder Beast celestial body. A huge roar came from his body again, and hundreds of vortexes appeared on the surface of his celestial body. These vortexes were like the small mouths of babies, greedily sucking in the nearby heaven and earth spiritual qi. Woo! As the heaven and earth spiritual qi entered his body again, Kuang Tian's celestial body also rose up. The celestial body also released a pressure that reached the level of Wu Qing's celestial body. Gradually, under the pressure of Wu Qing, Kuang Tian's celestial body approached the late Yuanying stage. Not good. Seeing Kuang Tian in such a state, Lightning Bolt Venerable could not help but exclaim in a low voice. He said regretfully, "Kuang Tian is going all out. With his strength, how can he control the pressure of a late-stage nascent soul cultivator? Even if he can win this battle, he will suffer great losses once he leaves the Thunder Arena. This is not a battle of life and death, so why is he going all out?" In Kuang Tian's eyes, this is a battle of life and death. Lightning Bolt Venerable said indifferently. Rather than being mercilessly beaten down by a junior, he might as well fight to the death. Look at his lightning spear and the surface of his body. There are already traces of blood. If nothing unexpected happens, this battle for the position of Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Lord will be decided in one strike. With the two of them fighting so hard, Wind Venerable might be able to reap the benefits. Fairy Scenic Peak said worriedly. Sheng Yunzi glanced at Wind Venerable, who had been squeezed into a corner, and said with a smile, "Wu Qing and Kuang Tian are both late-stage nascent soul cultivators, while Wind Venerable is only at early-stage nascent soul. Even if the two of them are injured, he will definitely not be able to gain an advantage." "That's true." Fairy Scenic Peak nodded slightly. She shifted her gaze away from Wind Venerable and looked at Wu Qing and Kuang Tian again. It was not that the crowd was underestimating Wind Venerable. Under the radiance of the two experts, Wind Venerable was frantically absorbing heaven and earth spirit chi. His body was rapidly expanding, and layers of golden scales even appeared on the surface of his body. The heaven and earth spirit chi nearby turned into a hurricane and rushed into the gaps between the scales. However, this phenomenon was covered by lightning. Compared to the might of a late-stage nascent soul cultivator, it was really like the light of a firefly. However, Wind Venerable was equally unyielding. His seemingly calm eyes gradually flashed with a faint golden brilliance. Fairy Scenic Peak's gaze had just landed on Kuang Tian when he roared, "Wuqing, I'll fight it out with you." This roar was really like a thunderclap. Many Imperial Thunder sect disciples with shallow cultivation trembled and fell from the sky. Even if they were still standing in mid-air, their hearts were abnormally terrified. Following this roar, Kuang Tian stepped on the lightning and danced with the lightning spear in his hand. With the courage of 10,000 men, he charged towards Wuqing. However, wherever Kuang Tian's figure passed, cracks appeared in the void. An indescribable restrictive force was emitted from the lightning spear. It was like the suffocating force before a storm, firmly covering half of the Imperial Thunder Plain. At the tip of the lightning spear, traces of lightning condensed but did not shoot out. Dong dong dong. Kuang Tian first flew, but after flying for hundreds of feet, he took a step forward again. Step by step he stepped in mid-air. It was like the sound of a drum that rang above the Thunder Mountain range. This sound not only shook the hearts of all the Imperial Thunder sect disciples, but also shattered the darkness before dawn. The hearts of all the Imperial Thunder sect disciples could not help but clench together. Kuang Tian's berserk aura was like this, so he naturally bore the brunt of Wuqing's attack. However, Wuqing, who had transformed into the Thunder Beast Dharma body, had no other color in his eyes except for the golden light. The lightning wings on his back spread out, turning into the most gorgeous lightning in the night sky. He waved his lightning hammer to meet the lightning spear. Wherever the lightning hammer passed, the void would fold. Waves of obscure spatial fluctuations were rapidly produced. Thousands of lightning bolts pierced through the void, producing strange whistling sounds. The magic power that was like a torrential flood rushed towards Kuang Tian, along with the Thunder Beast Dharma body. The dew that had condensed within a dozen miles instantly turned into nothingness. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian, vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it and reward it. Thank you for all forms of support. Thank you to Half Sentence Jinshire for your reward. /. Chapter 5135. Boom! An earth-shattering roar sounded as if it was going to tear the Thunder Arena apart. Several 100 feet deep cracks appeared under Wuqing and Kuang Tian's bodies, making kacha-kacha sounds as they spread out in all directions. The soaring airwaves swept across the sky above the Thunder Mountain range before the dozens of gusts of fierce wind. Thousands of thunderbolts were annihilated, and tens of thousands of lightning bolts were destroyed. Hundreds of huge space cracks were like huge tentacles that shrouded the sky. The lightning spear turned into a dragon and was struck into the night sky by the lightning hammer. The flickering lightning carried a final touch of brilliance. Although it was defeated, it was still glorious. Under the lightning spear, the muscles of Crazy Heaven's arms burst open, and blood mixed with lightning streaks disorderly gushed out. The huge force not only caused the Thunder Dharma body in front of Crazy Heaven's chest to collapse, but also caused him to tumble in the air. While bleeding from his 7 apertures, Crazy Heaven's face was pale gold. The strength that he forcibly increased under Wuqing's absolute strength had already exceeded the limit that Crazy Heaven's spiritual master could bear. Crazy Heaven actually fainted. If Crazy Heaven's spiritual master was like this, Wuqing would not be any better. The huge thunder hammer was also sent flying. However, it did not fly up into the sky. Instead, it fell into the Thunder Arena. The Thunder Arena, which was already full of cracks, vibrated rapidly with the boom. Merciless Thunder Beast's celestial body, which was more than 1,000 feet long, could not maintain its balance. As it flapped its wings with all its might, it still tumbled and flew in another direction. On the pitch-black Dharma body, streams of blood flowed out. Both its arms and the flesh in front of its chest were torn apart. On the Thunder Arena, The 7 great Thunder Palace Masters also found it difficult to stand firm. Each of them urged their bodies to avoid the aftermath of the collision. Fairy Jingfeng had been paying attention to Stormwind Spiritual Master. Now she shouted, "Not good, Stormwind Spiritual Master has made his move." Everyone's heart skipped a beat as they hurriedly looked over. Sure enough, just as Wu Qing's figure flew past, Stormwind Spiritual Master's figure suddenly swayed. He forced himself out of the impact of the chi wave. His arms flashed with golden brilliance as he pounced towards Wu Qing. Thunder Mesa's spiritual master sneered, "Humph, he has a good idea. This timing is just right. Unfortunately, how can Wu Qing not be on guard against him?" Following Thunder Tablet spiritual master's voice, the corner of Wu Qing's mouth curled up slightly as a mocking smile appeared on his face. Seeing Wind Spiritual Master's steel-like arm coming towards him, Wu Qing's right hand shook slightly and another lightning hammer suddenly appeared, striking towards Wind Spiritual Master with lightning speed. Haha, as expected. Fairy Yao Feng laughed heartily. Wu Qing is still holding back. He actually has 2 lightning hammers. Not good. Before Fairy Yao Feng could finish laughing, she was shocked again. Because at the moment when the thunder hammer was waved mercilessly, the swift wind immortal suddenly raised his hand and slapped his left arm on the top of his head. Whoosh! A sound like flowing water was heard. A wisp of watercolored brilliance emerged from the top of his head and washed down along the surface of his body. The swift wind immortal's body was already shining with golden light, so wherever the brilliance passed, it became even more dazzling. Moreover, as the brilliance of the watercolored brilliance poured down, the power of the swift wind immortal rushed from the early Yuanying stage to the middle Yuanying stage, and then without any stagnation to the late Yuanying stage. This was a turn of events that no one could have foreseen, including Wu Qing. Without waiting for Wu Qing to scream, the wind sage's body strangely turned into a shadow. Unable to dodge, he actually forced his way through the gap between the thunder hammer, and raised his fist to punch Wu Qing's left arm that was holding the thunder hammer. Pop! A sound that was several times smaller than the collision between the thunder hammer and the thunder spear sounded. The sound of the void condensing and exploding sounded. The thunder hammer whimpered as it was sent flying. Under this attack, Wu Qing's left arm broke inch by inch. A rare expression of shock appeared on Wu Qing's face that was as cold as 10,000 years old ice. At the same time, his entire Thunder Beast celestial body rapidly shrank, and his body was actually sent flying out of the Thunder Arena. Wu Qing let out a rare cry of surprise. This is not the cultivation method of the Thunder sect. Everyone opened their mouths. They did not know what to say. This was an outcome that they had never dreamed of. However, it was not over yet. Just as Wu Qing let out a cry of surprise and leaped out of the Thunder Arena, Stormwind Spiritual Master's body turned into a gust of wind and chased after him. His arms, which seemed to be made of gold, turned into shadows. Boom boom boom. A sound that was more deafening than the beating of a drum rang in the air. Every time an arm shadow appeared, the sound of thunder would resound and Wu Qing's Thunder Beast celestial body would shrink by a size. After a few breaths, the Thunder Beast celestial body, which was more than 1,000 feet long, was destroyed. Wu Qing's body retreated, tumbling in the air like a bullet. Damn it! With a roar, 2 streaks of lightning shot up into the sky. One rushed towards Stormwind Spiritual Master, and the other towards Wu Qing. Weren't they Xiang Zhili and Cui Yingying? Unfortunately, before Xiang Zhili could get close, Stormwind Spiritual Master laughed loudly. His body swayed and turned into a rainbow, returning to the Thunder Arena. Stormwind Spiritual Master's power had dropped, but he was still at the middle stage of the Yuanying stage. His strength was not something Xiang Zhili could compare with. Xiang Zhili naturally would not give up. He still made gestures with both hands, preparing to attack. However, Stormwind Spiritual Master stood in the air and laughed. The battle of the Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace has been decided. Xiang Zhili, do you want to challenge me? Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Xiang Zhili rushed to the front of the Thunder Arena and cursed loudly. Old Stormwind, you are too insidious. You are already at the middle stage of the Yuanying stage. Why did you hide your cultivation? Wu Qing was just beaten out of the Thunder Arena by you. Why did you hurt him again? Stormwind Spiritual Master smiled. Xiangzhili, Wu Qing seems to have the strength of the late stage of the Yuanying stage, right? Didn't he also hide his strength? If he can hide it, why can't I? Although Wu Qing was beaten out of the Thunder Arena by me, he can still fly back. The rules of the Battle of the Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace did not say that anyone who flies out of the Thunder Arena would be considered defeated. This Thunder Arena is really too small for a late-stage Yuanying cultivator, so I have to be careful. At this point, Stormwind Spiritual Master looked at Wu Qing, who was being supported by Cui Yingying in the distance. He bowed and said, "Junior brother Wu Qing, I had no choice. I am sorry." Wu Qing's face was pale gold, and there was no expression on his face. He raised his hand and waved. The Purple Palace Lord Seal of the Heavenly Thunder Palace flew out of thin air and landed right on Stormwind Spiritual Master. Xiangzhili glared fiercely at Stormwind Spiritual Master and flew back. He asked Wu Qing worriedly, "How are you?" "I won't die," Wu Qing replied. "Let's go." "Okay." Xiangzhili accompanied Cui Yingying, and the two of them flew back to where the disciples of the Myriad Thunder Valley were. Shua **** was already distressed. He hurried over and caught Wu Qing. Stormwind Spiritual Master took the Palace Lord Seal of the Heavenly Thunder Palace with a faint smile on his face. He cupped his hands at Wu Qing's back and said, "Thank you, junior brother Wu Qing." Then, Stormwind Spiritual Master rushed into the sky. Fairy Xianhua and the others were still in shock, still unable to extricate themselves from the previous incident. Disciple greets Sect Master. Stormwind Spiritual Master flew in front of Fairy Xianhua and cupped his hands in greeting. He offered the Palace Lord Seal of the Heavenly Thunder Palace and said, "This is the Palace Lord Seal of the Heavenly Thunder Palace. Sect Master, please accept it." Fairy Xianhua's expression eased a little, and she raised her hand to take the seal. However, she didn't take another look at the seal. Instead, she stared at Stormwind Spiritual Master and said indifferently, "Stormwind, how do you explain your extraordinary cultivation and the fact that you don't have a secret technique of the Imperial Thunder Sect?" Stormwind Spiritual Master smiled and didn't answer in a hurry. Instead, he took out a jade slip from his chest and respectfully handed it to Fairy Xianhua. "Sect Master, take a look at this first." "Okay." Fairy Xianhua nodded and took the jade slip. When she saw what was written inside, her expression changed slightly. She raised her head to look at Stormwind Spiritual Master and frowned as if she was thinking. After a while, she handed the jade slip to Fairy Xianfeng and said, "Junior Sister Xianfeng, take a look." Fairy Yaofeng received the jade slip. After reading it with her spiritual will, a strange expression appeared on her face. She exchanged a glance with Fairy Xianhua before handing the jade slip over to Thundermeng Taoist. After all the Lightning Palace Masters had read it, Fairy Yaofeng opened her mouth and said, "Sect Master Qian Lazy, based on the handwriting and aura alone, this decree should be left behind by Sect Master Qian Lazy. However, his style of doing things is very different from Senior Brother Qian Lazy." Thunder Talisman Spiritual Master shook his head and said, "I don't believe that Senior Brother Qian Lazy left Wu Qing and Qian Chang behind. Isn't this letting the two of them kill each other? It's not necessary for them to kill each other." Fairy Xianhua disagreed and said, "As the saying goes, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. It's normal for Sect Master Qian Lazy to leave two seeds behind. I even think that Sect Master Qian Lazy has other hidden hands that he hasn't revealed yet. It's just that Wu Qing and Qian Chang are too outstanding and have covered up the other hidden hands. In other words, with Wu Qing and Qian Chang, there's no need for other hidden hands." Wu Qing and Qian Chang's outstanding performance shows that Sect Master Qian Lazy has great foresight in his arrangements. Lei Tingzi said, "I think that this jade slip was left behind by Sect Master Qian Lazy." Indeed, Shang Yunzi thought for a moment and said, "If not for Sect Master's arrangements, how could Qian Chang escape from the Imperial Thunder Sea? How could he enter the middle nascent soul stage in such a short time and even reach the late nascent soul stage? Storm, what about your Dharma body secret technique? Where did it come from?" Immortal Thundermeng suddenly asked. Reporting to Immortal Thundermeng was as humble as before and said respectfully, "When I escaped from the Imperial Thunder Sea, Sect Master Qian Lazy gave it to me. I only practiced according to Sect Master Qian Lazy's arrangement, and don't know where this secret technique came from. Where's the secret technique? Can I have a look? Immortal Thunderming asked. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian. Vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it and give it as a reward. Thank you to return Little Duan Demonic Flower, Fern Lister, 3rd rank Small Duan Helpless, Carl 5865, Daoist Xiao Honghua, and Rogue Hero for their rewards. Also, thank you to all the fellow Taoists who gave out red packets for the monthly votes. Alas, your names are too enchanting. I don't dare to look straight at them. Chapter 5136. This Taoist Swift Wind hesitated, then shook his head and said, I'm sorry, but Senior Qian Lazy once said that only the Palace Lord of Heavenly Thunder Palace can cultivate it. If sect leader agrees to abolish Senior Qian Lazy's sect leader token, I can take it out and let you have a look. Let me have a look first. Fairy Xianhua narrowed her eyes and looked at Taoist Swift Wind. Taoist Swift Wind thought for a moment, then took out a simple jade pendant from his bosom. It was in the shape of purple thunderbolts, somewhat similar to the Palace Lord seal of Heavenly Thunder Palace. Fairy Xianhua took the jade pendant and gave it a look, then returned it to Taoist Swift Wind and said, This secret art is very obscure, and can only be cultivated by Yuanian cultivators. When the time is right, we'll discuss its cultivation. Yes, sect leader. Taoist Swift Wind took the jade pendant and answered carefully. Fairy Xianhua looked around and asked, Is there anything else you want to say? Thunderbolt Reverend opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but like Wuqing, Taoist Swift Wind had Qian Lazy's will in his hand, and he was more reliable than Wuqing, as Qian Cheng's name was written in it. The battle of the Palace Lord of Heavenly Thunder Palace was over, and no matter how shady Taoist Swift Wind's methods were, his mid-Yuanian realm and late Yuanian realm were real, so Thunderbolt Reverend really had nothing to nitpick about. Since Thunderbolt Reverend had no way to refute, the other Palace Lords naturally had nothing to say. Fairy Xianhua said with a smile, In that case, Taoist Swift Wind is the winner of this battle. 3 days later, in Thunder Immortal Peak's Great Thunder Palace, I'll personally hand over the Palace Lord seal to you. Taoist Swift Wind hurriedly bowed and said respectfully, Disciple thanks sect leader for trusting me. In addition, Disciple has a presumptuous request, which I hope sect leader can agree to. Oh, please speak. Fairy Xianhua asked curiously. Taoist Swift Wind said with a smile, Junior brother Wuqing's strength is not inferior to mine, and he was only shot down from the Thunder Plane due to his carelessness. Therefore, Disciple thinks that he should be qualified for the position of Heavenly Thunder Palace's Vice Palace Lord. 3 days later, sect leader will announce it. Haha. Fairy Xianhua rejoiced in her heart and said with a smile, This is your Heavenly Thunder Palace's matter, so there is no need for this old one to interfere. If you personally hand over the position of Heavenly Thunder Palace's Vice Palace Master to Wuqing, wouldn't that make him even more grateful to you? Yes. Spiritual Master Swiftwine says with a flattering smile. That's what I thought at first, but I've offended Junior Brother Wuqing today. If he doesn't agree with me, won't my Heavenly Thunder Palace lose a great help? Hearing this, Fairy Xianhua glanced at Reverend Leitan and said, If that's the case, then I can't promise you. Without waiting for Fairy Xianhua to finish speaking, Lei Meng Daoist interrupted her and said, Sect Master is right. Wuqing is a disciple of my shocking Thunder Palace. Previously, he was captured by Sect Master Qian Lazy. I was very reluctant to part with him. Since Sect Master Qian Lazy has other arrangements, then Wuqing will stay in Thunder Palace. My Deafening Thunder Palace may not be comparable to the Heavenly Thunder Palace, but my Deafening Thunder Palace is superior in that we have less scheming, and our disciples are shallow and emotionless. In Deafening Thunder Palace, we won't be played to death by others. Oh, and the position of Palace Master of my Heavenly Thunder Palace, I can also give it to Wuqing. Didn't Sect Master talk about reform? My Deafening Thunder Palace will also reform, and prepare to let Xiang Zhili and Cui Yingying become Vice Palace Masters of Deafening Thunder Palace. Fairy Xianhua sweats profusely, and hurriedly waves her hand and says, The matter of the Vice Palace Masters of each Lightning Palace is the matter of each Lightning Palace, and has nothing to do with the sect. However, the change of palace master of each lightning palace is the sex. Just as Fairy Xianhua says this, whoosh, a thunder sound transmitting talisman in the distance turns into a stream of light and flies over, immediately interrupting Fairy Xianhua. Fairy Xianhua is somewhat displeased. She receives the sound transmitting talisman but doesn't open it. Instead, she says, Thunder Meng Taoist, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. These matters still need to be. Whoosh. Immediately after, 2 more thunder sound transmitting talismans fly over from 2 other places in Thunder Mo mountain range, one of them flickering with a blood-red color. Fairy Xianfeng hurriedly urges, Sect Master, this is an urgent sound transmitting talisman. I'm afraid there's something urgent on the west side of Thunder Mo mountain range. Take a look. Fairy Xianhua frowns, and first opens the thunder sound transmitting talisman flickering with a blood-red brilliance. Then she hears the anxious voice of a disciple coming from it. Sect Master, a disciple from the west side of Thunder Controlling Sect sent a message saying that the path back to Thunder Controlling Sect has been blocked by unknown cultivators. This disciple has already sent someone to investigate. Oh? Fairy Xianhua is startled, and hurriedly opens the earliest thunder sound transmitting talisman. Sure enough, a disciple's voice comes from it. Sect Master, a message from Jade Archive Hall Grandmaster Zhen Qing says that when he was returning to Thunder Controlling Sect, he was chased by unknown disciples. Sect Master, please investigate and rescue him as soon as possible. What? Zhen Qing is being chased? Sheng Yunzi is greatly alarmed, and he hurriedly says, Zhen Qing is already a late gold core stage cultivator. How can there be people chasing after him? Thunder Meng Taoist's face is as calm as water, and he looks at the other sound-transmitting talisman in Fairy Xianhua's hand and says, this last one is probably the same. Sure enough, when Fairy Xianhua opens the last thunder sound-transmitting talisman, a disciple's anxious voice comes out, Sect Master, a group of unknown cultivators has been discovered in the east side of Thunder Controlling Sect. They have already surrounded the east side of Thunder Controlling Sect. After this disciple investigates, these cultivators have formed a team and are about 1,000 miles away from Thunder Mo mountain range. Damn it! Fairy Xianhua angrily throws the thunder sound transmitting talisman into the air and yells, this must be a group of sword cultivators besieging my Thunder Controlling Sect. Sect Master. The nearby Swift Wind Taoist mutters to himself and says in a low voice, it's too early to come to such a conclusion. My Thunder Controlling Sect isn't in the north of the country of Xi. If there are sword cultivators heading south, it will definitely attract the attention of other Dao cultivator sects in the Cultivation 3 countries. Moreover, if they are sword cultivators, their sword equipment is very obvious. The last disciple who sent the message will definitely explain it. Of course, this is only this disciple's guess for Sect Master's reference. When Fairy Xianhua hears this, she slightly nods and says, Swift Wind Taoist is right. I was too anxious and didn't think things through. However, no matter who dares to besiege my Thunder Controlling Sect, I won't let them get what they deserve. Disciples. Speaking up to hear, Fairy Xianhua glanced around and raised her voice. We've discovered a large number of unknown cultivators surrounding the Imperial Thunder Sect. Although we don't know why they're here, they've invaded the territory of our Imperial Thunder Sect, which is a provocation to our Imperial Thunder Sect. Now that our Imperial Thunder Sect has 3 nascent soul grandmasters and 2 of them are at the late stage of the nascent soul realm, our Imperial Thunder Sect already possesses the qualifications to contend for supremacy among the 3 great sects of the state of Xi. No matter who they are, whether they are sword cultivators or Dao cultivators, I will give them a thunderous blow and let them know the power of my Thunder Controlling Sect. Lightning Taoist, Lightning Taoist, Lightning Taoist, Zhishuanzi, listen to my command. Fairy Xianhua may have many faults, but she is still the sect master of the Thunder Controlling Sect. When she hears that the Thunder Controlling Sect is besieged, she immediately flies into a rage and issues orders. When Thunderbolts Taoist, Lei Tingzi, and Zhishuanzi hear this, they don't dare to be negligent and hurriedly bow and salute. Disciples will follow sect master's orders. I don't understand war, so I will leave the task of resisting the enemy to you all. Fairy Xianhua orders, you must beat the enemy to a pulp and boost the morale of my Thunder Controlling Sect. Yes, disciples will not disappoint sect master. Thunderbolts Taoist, Lei Tingzi, and Jishuanzi receive the order, and after a brief discussion, they assign tasks and send their disciples to defend the thunder-controlling sect. Most of the thunder-controlling sect's disciples are now in front of the thunder arena, so it is very convenient to dispatch them. In just a short while, the disciples have already flown out, according to the arrangement, to reinforce the thunder-controlling sect's array. The competition of the 100 halls and the battle of the palace master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace really made their blood boil. Just as Fairy Xianhua said, they firmly believe that the thunder-controlling sect is already standing at the peak of the 3 kingdoms of cultivators. If anyone dares to offend the thunder-controlling sect, they will definitely return in defeat. Sect Master. After the first batch of disciples left, Thunderbolt's Taoist and the other nascent soul cultivators in the sect gathered together and returned, saying, "The disciples to defend have been assigned, and the disciples to fight have been prepared. We are just waiting for the news from the scouting disciples, then our thunder-controlling sect will give them a head-on blow. Now that our thunder-controlling sect has enough nascent soul disciples, we are not afraid of this battle." Good. Fairy Xianhua looks at the nascent soul cultivators of the thunder-controlling sect and claps her hands, saying, "Junior brothers, you have done very well. This seat is a woman and does not have the ability to dispatch troops. The only thing this seat can do is to support you in the sect. If you have any needs, this seat will satisfy all of you. After the Sword Dao War, our thunder-controlling sect has not fought a big battle. This is really an opportunity." Whoosh! Another thunder sound transmitting talisman flew over, interrupting Fairy Xianhua's words. Fairy Xianhua is helpless and did not dare to be negligent. She took the thunder sound transmitting talisman and handed it over to Thunderbolt's Taoist, saying, "Junior brother Thunderbolts, now is a time of war. The battlefield will be under your command." Good. Thunderbolt's Taoist knows that this is not the time to be courteous, so he accepted the sound transmitting talisman. When he opened the sound transmitting talisman, he heard a disciple's voice, reporting to Sect Master, "The special envoys of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall, Yi Shuaihui and Xian Yang have come to seek an audience." Ah! Fairy Xianhua is stunned. She looks at Thunderbolt's Taoist, then at Lei Tingzi and Jishuanzi, asking curiously, "Why did the special envoys of the Immortal Alliance come to our thunder-controlling sect at this time?" Thunderbolt's Taoist passes the sound-transmitting talisman to Fairy Xianhua, and says with a frown, "Sect Master, please know. I am also surprised. Although the Immortal Alliance is known as the Dao Cultivator Alliance of the 3 Kingdoms of Cultivation, in fact, except for the Immortal Demon War, it usually does not interfere in the affairs of the sections. According to before the last Immortal Demon War, the special envoys of the Immortal Alliance came to our thunder-controlling sect to pass on the Alliance Master's order. After Sect Master Qian Lazy received the order, he asked Master Lei Tingzi, Master Lei Yunzi, and Master Zhen Yuan to bring our thunder-controlling sect disciples to the demon-resisting valley to participate in the war. At other times, there has never been an Alliance Master's order. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian. Vote for it, give it a recommendation vote, collect it and give it a tip. Chapter 5137. Master Lei Meng and the other spirit-severing seniors should have seen the so-called alliance leader in demon-resisting valley. Lei Ting looked at the crowd and said self-deprecatingly, "I and senior brother Lei Meng have only seen them from afar. I really don't know why they sent an envoy here today." "I know what junior brother Lei Meng is talking about." Fairy Xianhua nodded and said, "I was there when the alliance leader's envoy came to Great Thunder Palace. I wonder why the envoy from the Judgment Hall of the Immortal Alliance suddenly came here?" Taoist Swiftwind frowned and looked around, then asked tentatively, "Sect Master, I think the envoy from the Judgment Hall of the Immortal Alliance is here because of the cultivators surrounding our Imperial Thunder sect?" "That's right." Fairy Xianhua suddenly raised her eyebrows and said, "The alliance leader must have received some news and specially sent a message. Junior brother Lei Meng, let's invite the envoy in." Taoist Swiftwind frowned and shook his head, saying, "Our Imperial Thunder sect is currently on guard. The situation outside the Thunder Mo Mountains is unknown. These 2 cultivators said they are the Immortal Alliance's envoys. Who knows if they are? Let's meet outside the sect's formation." "Okay." We'll listen to Junior Brother's arrangement. Fairy Xianhua nodded and looked around. Let's go and meet the Alliance Leader's envoy. After she finished speaking, Fairy Xianhua turned into a rainbow and flew towards the mountain gate. After everyone had flown up, Xiang Zhili supported Wu Qing and said, Humph, what Alliance had special envoy? Do you want us to go greet him? Wu Qing, how are your injuries? Wu Qing's face was pale gold, but he didn't say anything and just nodded slightly. Cui Yingying's face turned pale and she shouted, What are you going for? We'll return to the Myriad Thunder Valley. You should meditate for 100 years first. Wu Qing said helplessly, Unknown cultivators are surrounding the Imperial Thunder sect. A great battle is imminent. Although I'm injured, I'm still a mid-nascent soul cultivator. Even if I don't fight, I'll still be a deterrent. Sect Master didn't let me go because he wanted me to meditate. Didn't you see that the Myriad Thunder Valley's disciples have already formed a team and are preparing for battle with the Thunder Palace? How can I go back and meditate? Fine, Cui Yingying said in a low voice. We'll just watch and absolutely can't fight. You've just entered the mid-nascent soul realm. Damned Gale. Xiang Zhili sneered. This bastard is doing this on purpose. He wants to dispel your ability to compete for the position of Palace Master of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, so that you won't be able to. At this point, Xiang Zhili's eyes suddenly flashed with a cold light, and he transmitted his voice, No, Wu Qing, this bastard's plan is definitely not limited to this. If he simply wanted to protect the Palace Lord of the Heavenly Thunder Palace, the outcome would have been decided the moment you flew out of the Thunder Arena, and he wouldn't have to do anything. The reason why he made a move was because he was afraid that you would fight with him for the sect leader position. Your injury is definitely not as simple as it looks on the surface. Alas, Wu Qing glanced at Cui Yingying beside him and transmitted his voice, You're right. My realm has gradually regressed from the middle stage of the nascent soul realm. Didn't I tell you earlier that Master Jeffing's methods were extremely ruthless? His technique isn't a secret technique of the Imperial Thunder sect. Then hurry up and cultivate. Go find Master Lei Ting. Xiang Zhili said anxiously. Wu Qing shook his head. Since the realm has already regressed, it's not something that can be easily resolved. There was no particular use in meditating at this moment. Master Lei Ting. He's nearing the end of his life and can't even take care of himself. How can I cause trouble for him? Then what should we do? Xiang Zhili was anxious. Wu Qing gave a rare smile and said, Nothing. At this point everyone had already flown up. Wu Qing hurriedly said, Hurry up and take me there. Don't let Master Jeffing notice anything. Ah! Xiang Zhili was shocked. He didn't dare to delay and hurriedly gave Cui Yingying a look. Although the two of them didn't support Wu Qing, they still flew up with Wu Qing and flew behind everyone at a leisurely pace. After flying for a while, Xiang Zhili hurriedly asked, Wu Qing, tell me the truth. What's going on? Wu Qing pondered for a moment and transmitted his voice, I can tell you, but you can't tell Yingying, much less my mother. I promise you. Xiang Zhili agreed without hesitation. Wu Qing replied, After Master Jeffing injured me, he released his divine sense twice to check on me. It seems that he wants to know the extent of my injury. I didn't dare to be negligent and secretly used the secret technique we got to hide the injury of my nascent soul. But since Master Jeffing came to check on me, no matter what his plan is, I can't return to the Myriad Thunder Valley. I can't be separated from you. And I can't even be separated from the masters of the 7 Thunder Palaces. Damn it! Xiang Zhili cursed in a low voice and said fiercely, Why does this guy seem to hate my Myriad Thunder Valley? Could he be a disciple of another sect? No. Wu Qing replied, Since he also has Master Qian Leizi's handwritten order, it must be his arrangement. Besides, he's already in the late stage of the nascent soul realm. In other sects he already has the strength of a master. There's no reason for him to spy on my Imperial Thunder sect. He probably wants to get the position of master of the Imperial Thunder sect. He's afraid that I'll make trouble, so he wants to cut the weeds and destroy my realm. Handwritten orders can also be fake. Xiang Zhili said. He's already in the late stage of the nascent soul realm. Even if it's fake, the old woman can't tell. If it's fake, Wu Qing smiled bitterly. My Heavenly Thunder Palace's Palace Master seal is the easiest to fake. However, since Swift Wind Spiritual Master doesn't want to reveal it, we can't reveal it either. After all, he's already very powerful. If he gets angry out of humiliation, we'll be the first to suffer. Right now, our self-preservation is the most important thing. Yes, I understand. Xiang Zhili nodded. First, we'll protect ourselves. After we get through this crisis, we'll immediately leave the Imperial Thunder Sect. At the very least, we'll enter the eye of the formation and use the formation to protect ourselves. I hope my feeling is wrong, Wu Qing said worriedly. This Swift Wind Spiritual Master is only after the position of Master. Eldest senior brother Wu Qing, Cui Yingying, who was watching from the side, couldn't help but ask in a low voice, "What are you talking about, little girl?" Xiang Zhili glared at her and said, "You just need to support Wu Qing. Why do you care so much?" Cui Yingying was used to being reprimanded by Xiang Zhili, so she didn't mind. However, Xiang Zhili's reprimand made Cui Yingying's heart clench. She had already heard something from Xiang Zhili's words. She quickly tightened her grip on Wu Qing's arm and transmitted her voice. "Wu Qing, what happened?" Wu Qing glared at Xiang Zhili in annoyance, then squeezed out a smile and said, "Nothing. The two of us discussed that after this, the three of us will make a trip to the Flame Forest Swamp and see if there's anything we missed in the secret area." Cui Yingying was a little suspicious, but she didn't ask any more questions. She only nodded and said, "Don't forget to call me when you leave. You're Wu Qing's little tail. How could I abandon you?" Xiang Zhili smiled. When he said this, Cui Yingying's face flushed red. Her tightly clenched fists suddenly loosened, and Wu Qing glared at Xiang Zhili again without saying anything. The situation instantly became awkward. Xiang Zhili saw this and laughed. "What's wrong? Haven't you been a little tail since you were young? What's there to be shy about? You were in the past, now, and in the future." Cui Yingying lowered her head. Her nose was already touching her chest. Wu Qing's expression didn't change. He just looked indifferently at the group of people who had turned into rainbows flying in the distance. Xiang Zhili sighed helplessly when he saw that the two of them didn't continue the conversation. He could only sigh. He was anxious. He knew Cui Yingying's feelings for Wu Qing the best. It was a pity that one was his martial uncle, and the other was a junior. If there were two Thunder Palaces, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, the two of them were not only one Thunder Palace but also one 10,000 Thunder Valley. The 10,000 Thunder Valley was currently in the limelight. If this matter was exposed, not only would Zhuo Bingying faint from anger, the entire Thunder Palace would be in chaos. Some people were bad at cultivation, so they created trouble out of nothing. They were the best at pointing fingers and gossiping. While they were talking, the nascent soul cultivators had already arrived at the mountain gate. At this time, the mountain gate was already filled with the Imperial Thunder Sect's troops. A disciple had already come to greet them. He raised his hand and pointed at the two golden core cultivators outside the mountain guarding array. Reporting to Sect Master, they are the special envoys of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall. Their names are Yi Shuaihui and Xian Yang. They said that they have the Immortal Alliance's order and token. However, this disciple didn't dare to act rashly and only asked them to wait outside the array. "Well done." Fairy Xianhua nodded. Then, she looked into the distance and asked, "Did the disciples who investigated the situation report back?" "Most of them haven't reported back yet." The disciple replied. "Only a few disciples sent back a message saying that a large number of cultivators have indeed come. However, the cultivators they encountered all stopped 1,000 miles away, and didn't advance in the direction of our Imperial Thunder Sect. Sect Master also knows that our Imperial Thunder Sect's patrol range is only 300 miles. We regularly patrol within 500 miles. Outside of 1,000 miles, it's already far beyond our patrol range. And I understand." Fairy Xianhua waved her hand and said, "This matter isn't your fault. In the past few decades, our Imperial Thunder Sect has been too focused on internal affairs. We have been concealing our strength and biding our time. We have been less involved in the Dao cultivation trend and the decisions of the large sections. We might have overlooked something." Cough cough. Thunder Meng Daoist coughed a few times and said in a low voice, "Sect Master, let's invite the special envoys of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall in first." After all, they have been waiting for a long time. Fairy Xianhua glanced at Thundermeng Daoist and ordered, "Invite the special envoys of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall in." Yes, this disciple understands. After the disciple received the order, he ordered his subordinates to inform them. Thundermeng Daoist ordered the disciples who were on guard to set up a large array behind them to prevent any changes from occurring. Not long after, two early gold core stage cultivators swaggered in from outside the formation PS. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qijian. Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a reward and... Chapter 5138. The person in front had an ordinary appearance. Although he was a little old and had wrinkles on his face was rosy and looked very plump. The person behind him was the exact opposite. Not only was he thin, his face was also abnormally dry. His Taoist robe was a little sloppy and his hair was messy. However, this person's eyes were flashing with a rather crystalline light. Compared to the person in front, his eyes were much more turbid. This old man is the special envoy of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall, Yi Shuaihui. Greetings to the Imperial Thunder sect leader. The chubby gold core cultivator in front casually bowed and saluted. From the looks of it, he really didn't live up to his name. This one is the special envoy of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall, Xian Yang. Greetings to the sect leader. After that, the skinny gold core cultivator saluted. Although he was slightly more respectful than Yi Shuaihui, he wasn't much better. Therefore, without waiting for Fairy Xianhua to speak, Thunder Tablet Immortal said indifferently, "You can wait. What's the matter? Tell this old man first." "You?" Yi Shuaihui and Xian Yang laughed coldly and stood up. "We are here to deliver the arbitration order under the orders of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall. The Alliance leader specifically said that this arbitration order will be delivered to the Imperial Thunder sect leader. Who are you? How dare you accept the arbitration order?" Arbitration order? Thunder Tablet Immortal was stunned. This was the first time he heard of an arbitration order and he didn't know what it was. However, seeing that the two gold core cultivators were so arrogant and didn't put the Imperial Thunder sect in their eyes, he mustered up his courage and said, "You don't need to know who this old man is. All you need to know is that this old man is in charge of all external affairs of the Imperial Thunder sect." "You're in charge?" Xian Yang sneered. "You think you can make us hand over the arbitration order of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall with just one sentence? You think too highly of yourself." Yi Shuaihui also said, "We are here under the orders of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall to deliver this arbitration order to the Imperial Thunder sect leader. If your Imperial Thunder sect doesn't accept the arbitration order, we will turn around and leave. The serious consequences of this matter, and the anger of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall, will be borne by your Imperial Thunder sect." Yi Shuaihui and Xian Yang kept mentioning the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Adjudication. When they mentioned the arbitration order, the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Adjudication was indeed an organization of the Immortal Alliance. Fairy Xianhua pondered for a moment, then took a step forward and said, "I'm the sect master of the Imperial Thunder sect, Fairy Xianhua." Yi Shuaihui and Xian Yang looked at each other. Then Yi Shuaihui sneered and said, "Sect master, aren't you here? Why didn't you say anything just now? You're obviously slighting us." "Slighting us is nothing. After all, you're nascent soul seniors, so we don't dare to say anything. But we are the special envoys of the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment. Seeing us is like seeing the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment. We have traveled through the 3 cultivation countries and even the Huan country, but we have never seen a sect as arrogant as the Imperial Thunder sect, who doesn't put the Immortal Alliance in their eyes." This. Fairy Xianhua was at a loss for words. She frowned and looked at Reverend Lei Meng, seemingly complaining. At this moment, Reverend Jeffing took a step forward and said indifferently, "Fellow Taoists, who are you waiting for? You didn't even take out the token of the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment and your own tokens. How can you claim to be the special envoys of the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment with just a touch of your lips? The reason why our sect master came out to see you is because he respects the Immortal Alliance. If you do as I said, I'll take you down and interrogate you later." "Damn it." Yi Shuaihui was taken aback and said hastily, "It's not that we didn't take out the token, But just now we already. Don't talk about just now. It's useless. Reverend Jeffing sneered and said, what happened after our sect master came out? Did you show your tokens? Xian Yang opened his mouth, but still wanted to argue. Then, Reverend Jeffing ordered, disciples, since these two can't take out the token of the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment, they must be spies. Quickly take them down. Yes. The disciples roared in unison. Although they were both Foundation Establishment and Qi Refining disciples, their fighting spirit was different. When their voices fell into the ears of Yi Shuaihui and Xian Yang, it really gave them a fright. The two helplessly took out their tokens and handed them over in a somewhat disrespectful manner, saying, Sect Master, this is Junior's token. Fairy Xianhua was about to raise her hand, but Reverend Jeffing took it first. After looking at it a few times, he respectfully handed it back to Fairy Xianhua and said, Sect Master, this disciple has never seen the token of the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment. Please identify it. Fairy Xianhua smiled and said, let's leave this matter to Reverend Lei Meng. Yes, Sect Master. Reverend Jeffing answered and turned to hand it over to Reverend Lei Meng. Looking at the two tokens with the words Hall of Judgment written on them, Reverend Lei Meng thought for a moment and vaguely felt that they were similar to the Alliance leader's token. He used his divine sense to take a look and returned the tokens to the two. Then, he turned to Fairy Xianhua and nodded, saying, Sect Master, these two tokens should be authentic. Good. Fairy Xianhua nodded and looked at Yi Shuaihui and Xian Yang, saying, since they are real envoys, there is no need to capture them. What brings you to my Imperial Thunder Sect? Sect Master of Imperial Thunder Sect. Yi Shuaihui took out another crystal jade amulet and placed it on top of his head, saying loudly, accept the Immortal Alliance's arbitration token. Fairy Xianhua had no choice but to bow and say, Junior Fairy Xianhua accepts the Immortal Alliance's arbitration token. Yi Shuaihui proudly glanced at Fairy Xianhua, who had her head lowered, and said, the Imperial Thunder Sect is informed that Bering Sect has filed a complaint against you for occupying several hills and not returning them for a long time. After careful investigation by the disciples of the Immortal Alliance, Bering Sect's evidence is conclusive and detailed. Therefore, these hills belong to Bering Sect. Imperial Thunder Sect is ordered to return all the hills to Bering Sect within 3 days of accepting the arbitration token without delay. If not, it will be regarded as disobeying the Immortal Alliance's arbitration token, and the consequences will be borne by them. Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment. Fairy Xianhua was dumbfounded. The 5 great lightning palace masters were dumbfounded. All the nascent soul cultivators of Imperial Thunder Sect, and even the disciples on guard were dumbfounded. For a time the entire Imperial Thunder Sect was silent, to the point that even the sound of a needle dropping could be heard. After half a cup of tea's time, Yi Shuaihui felt that his raised arm was sore, and Fairy Xianhua tentatively asked, are you sure? This is the Immortal Alliance's arbitration token? Just because of a few hills? Also, what kind of sect was this barbarian sect? How come I've never heard of such a sect near my Imperial Thunder Sect? Yi Shuaihui coldly replied, sorry, we're only responsible for delivering the arbitration token, not answering it. The arbitration token contains the basis and results of the arbitration. If you don't understand, you can write a letter to the Immortal Alliance within a day. Imperial Thunder Sect Master, you don't have to accept the arbitration token. But once I tell you the contents of the arbitration token, it will take effect immediately. May I ask, Imperial Thunder Sect Master, do you want to accept the arbitration token? Alas, what the hell is this? Fairy Xianhua sighed, looked around and asked, have you heard of this Bering Sect? Or do you know where the hills that Fei Lin Men mentioned are? Thundermeng Taoist didn't say anything, but turned to look at Fairy Xiangfeng and the others. They were also puzzled and shook their heads. Swift Wind Taoist hastily reminded, Sect Master, the arbitration token must contain the records of the so-called Bering Sect, as well as the disputes about those hills. Why don't you take it and have a look? Since the special envoy says that the arbitration token has taken effect, it doesn't matter whether we accept it or not. All right. Fairy Xianhua thought for a moment and agreed. She had heard it, so why bother about whether she should accept it or not? Unfortunately, when Fairy Xianhua stretched out her hand to take it, Yi Shuaihui didn't let go. but looked at her indifferently with a big smile on his fat face. Next to him, Exine smiled and said, Sect Master of Imperial Thunder Sect, I heard that the spirit wine of Imperial Thunder Sect is very famous. If we return and say that we haven't tasted it, not only will we lose face, but the reputation of Imperial Thunder Sect in the Immortal Alliance will also be greatly damaged, right? Damn it! Fairy Xianhua suddenly understood something. She looked at Yi Shuaihui and Exine Yang in disbelief. She couldn't believe her ears and even more couldn't believe her own comprehension. She cursed in a low voice and asked, Are you too sure that this is my Imperial Thunder Sect's spiritual wine? Cough cough. Exine Yang coughed and said with a smile, Maybe it's a spirit wine. Anyway, any famous wine will do. You can't expect us to. Unfortunately, before the two of them could finish speaking, a gust of strange wind suddenly arose, and then a large hand grabbed out of thin air. Yi Shuaihui's figure was instantly confined by this large hand. Yi Shuaihui thought that someone had attacked him, and he was frightened to the point cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Fortunately, although the big hand imprisoned him, it didn't hurt him at all. After taking the arbitration order, it released him. Yi Shuaihui naturally knew that Imperial Thunder Sect didn't dare to hurt the envoy of the Alliance Master, so he said in a strange tone, I didn't expect the famous Imperial Thunder Sect to be so stingy. Not only did you not let us in for a cup of tea, but you also humiliated us in front of so many disciples of Imperial Thunder Sect. I will definitely report this matter to the Immortal Alliance Hall of Judgment and even to the Alliance Master. After saying that, Yi Shuaihui whispered to Exine Yang, Let's go. The one who took the arbitration order was actually Taoist Jifeng. He said coldly, Wait. What's the matter? Senior, is there anything else? Exine Yang said coldly, Could it be that you don't want us to return safely to the Immortal Alliance? Taoist Jifeng said proudly to the two, This old man is Taoist Jifeng. You can go back and explain it to your Alliance Master. Seizing the arbitration order is this old man's business. It has nothing to do with the Sect Master. Also, my Sect Master hasn't allowed you to leave yet. Why do you want to leave? Exine Yang said angrily, Don't worry, Senior Jifeng. I remember your name clearly, and will definitely report it to the Alliance Master. As for the Imperial Thunder Sect Master, do you have anything else to ask? If not, we are in a hurry to report it to the Alliance Master. P.S. Fellow cultivators who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qidian. Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it a tip, and Chapter 5139. Fairy Xianhua was very satisfied with Swift Wind Spiritual Master's actions. She smiled and said, Swift Wind Spiritual Master, show me the arbitration order. Remember, without my permission, no one is allowed to leave the mountain gate of Imperial Thunder Sect. Yes, Sect Master. Swift Wind Spiritual Master handed over the arbitration order and said loudly, Disciple will kill anyone who dares to leave. With that, Swift Wind Spiritual Master's sword-like gaze swept past the two gold core cultivators. Yi Shuaihui and Exine Yang shrank their necks and did not leave. However, when Fairy Xianhua scanned the arbitration order with her divine sense, her face changed instantly and she shouted outrageous. My Imperial Thunder Sect's Zimu Ridge, Shan Peak, and Island Reef Peak are clearly high mountains. How can they be hills? Moreover, the Imperial Thunder Sect's southern peaks have belonged to my Imperial Thunder Sect since ancient times, no, ever since my Imperial Thunder Sect was founded. What's more, these peaks are within my Imperial Thunder Sect's protective array. How can they belong to some barbarian sect? This is obviously a bunch of nonsense. Whether it's a bunch of nonsense or not, we don't know. Exine Yang replied, Sect Master already knows. Didn't the arbitration order say it clearly? If Imperial Thunder Sect has any objections, they can appeal to the Immortal Alliance. Bullshit. Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master could not help but roar. The so-called barbarian sect covets the foundation of my Imperial Thunder Sect. They have the right to appeal to the Immortal Alliance. Who knows where the Immortal Alliance's gate is? Yi Shuaihui sneered and looked at Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master. Senior, you're really daring to slander my Immortal Alliance. Am I right? Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master was not afraid and asked, What does the Immortal Alliance do? It was during the Great War of Immortals and Demons that the Immortal Alliance deployed to meet the demon race's invasion. Usually, the Immortal Alliance has no right to interfere in the affairs of the three kingdoms of cultivators. If this bullshit barbarian sect is not satisfied, they can come to my Imperial Thunder sect. Don't use the Immortal Alliance to oppress us. I have never heard of this Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment. Xianyang looked at Fairy Xianhua and asked, Sect Master, what this senior said represents the Imperial Thunder sect? Not bad. Fairy Xianhua nodded and threw the crystal-like arbitration order to Yi Shuaihui. I've never heard of an arbitration order. This arbitration order. My Imperial Thunder sect doesn't recognize it. Who knew that Yi Shuaihui would not accept the arbitration order at all? He only said, once the arbitration order is issued, it has already taken effect. It cannot be taken back. Take it or leave it. The Swift-Wind Immortal raised his hand and caught the arbitration token, saying, this thing looks very solid. I'll take it back and use it as a cushion for my table. When Xianyang and Yi Shuaihui heard this, their expressions changed slightly. They looked at each other and asked in unison, Imperial Thunder Sect Master, can we leave now? Get lost, I won't see you off. The Swift Wind Sage said with a laugh. However, Xianyang and Yi Shuaihui did not move. They only looked at Fairy Xianhua. Please. Fairy Xianhua indifferently said, go back and report to Lord Alliance Head that this is a matter of my Imperial Thunder sect, a matter of my Shiguoxiu. Ask him to worry more about the Immortal Demon War, and not spend his energy on these trivial matters. Okay, I'll report to Lord Sect Master's words in full detail. Xianyang and Yi Shuaihui nodded in agreement, and simultaneously urged their figures to fly. However, after flying for more than 1,000 feet, they turned back and said with a smile, by the way, we said before that those who do not obey the arbitration order will bear the consequences. I hope Imperial Thunder Sect Master will reconsider. Not good. Suddenly, the Swift Wind Sage seemed to understand something and hurriedly shouted, don't let them go. They are related to the unknown cultivators who besieged Imperial Thunder Sect. The Thunder Talisman Immortal laughed and said, let them go. They are just two small fries. Why bother with them? Even if you let them stay, you won't get any information. The two early-stage Golden Core disciples from the Immortal Alliance were planning this. Yes, disciple will listen to Immortal's instructions. The Swift Wind Sage was very respectful to the Thunder Talisman Immortal. He nodded and handed the arbitration token to the Thunder Talisman Immortal, saying, Immortal, please take a look. Okay. The Thunder Talisman Immortal took the arbitration order and looked at it. Although he already knew the content, he was still so angry that his face changed color. He passed the arbitration order to Fairy Xianfeng and said, Senior sister, take a look. It's really black and white, deliberately mystifying. Yes. The Swift Wind Sage smiled bitterly and said, the mountains in the south are the territory of Imperial Thunder Sect, and also the place where the sect protecting formation is deployed. How can we cede it to others? The problem is, what is this bearing nether sect that suddenly appeared? Disciple has never heard of it. The arbitration order also does not explain. There must be a mastermind behind this. After Fairy Xianfeng finished reading it, she passed it to Lei Tingzi and said, this mastermind covets the foundation of Imperial Thunder Sect, so he fabricated a sect. This sect then fabricated a territory issue and gave it to the Immortal Alliance, who did not know what was going on. But the Immortal Alliance did not know what was going on and issued this arbitration order. The Swift Wind Sage nodded and said, if we push it further, this Immortal Alliance might not be reliable. They might also be after some benefits. Fairy Xianhua shook her head and said, apart from the Vice Alliance Master of Falling Star Heaven, the rest of the Immortal Alliance are elders of various sections. With their reputations, they would not damage their own image. I'm afraid this matter has nothing to do with the Immortal Alliance, but is related to this Vice Alliance Master of Falling Star Heaven. He arbitrarily used the name of the Immortal Alliance to set up this Immortal Alliance Judgment Hall, and issued this arbitration order. Don't say that he is using the name of the Immortal Alliance. Lei Tingzi looked at the arbitration order and sneered. Even if it is really the arbitration of the Immortal Alliance, it still depends on what the arbitration order is. It is impossible for Imperial Thunder Sect to accept such an absurd arbitration result. There is another question. The Swift Wind Sage changed the topic and said, is the cultivators who are besieging my Imperial Thunder Sect related to this arbitration order? Is it related to the Bearing Nether Sect? Is it related to the Immortal Alliance? The Swift Wind Sage pinched his chin and said in a low voice, it's hard to say. We still need the patrolling disciples to ascertain the identity of the cultivators, who are about 1,000 miles away. And to ascertain the identity of the cultivators who are about 1,000 miles away, I'm afraid it will take at least 2 or 3 days. 3 days? The Swift Wind Sage asked curiously, isn't that the time limit of the arbitration order? Lei Tingzi said, therefore, there is no need to wait for the patrolling disciples to return. The cultivators who are besieging my Imperial Thunder Sect must be related to the Bearing Nether Sect and the Immortal Alliance. He's trying to force my Imperial Thunder Sect to show his strength. In that case, Fairy Xianhua pondered for a moment and said, I'm afraid I can't deal with it. I still need the 3 elders to deal with the Immortal Alliance. The Swift Wind Sage nodded in agreement, not to mention the Sect Master. Even senior brother Qin Lazy doesn't have the experience to deal with the Immortal Alliance. Let's ask the 3 elders to come out. Wuqing Liringing go. Xiang Zhili hesitated for a moment before whispering a few words to Lei Meng Reverend. Frowning, Lei Meng Reverend replied, how about this, you all go there. You don't have to bring the Sect Master's token. You only need to explain the cause of the matter and see what the 3 seniors think. If they are willing to help, then you all can return with them. If they are not willing, then you all can wait for your return. Yes, we understand. Xiang Zhili, Wuqing, and Cui Yingying didn't dare to delay and hurriedly left. Fairy Xianhua was puzzled and asked, Junior brother Lei Meng, what's the matter? The Swift Wind Sage helplessly replied. Li said that the 3 elders' lifespans are about to come to an end. If they help, I'm afraid they won't be able to hold on for long. Alas, blessings don't come in pairs and misfortune doesn't come alone. Fairy Xianhua said and then ordered, Junior brother Lei Meng, prepare the battle team. I'm afraid this arbitration of the Immortal Alliance won't end well. All right. Receiving the order, the Swift Wind Sage began to discuss with Lei Tingzi, Zhishuanzi, and Sheng Yunzi to increase the number of disciples assigned. At this time, all the palace masters of the Thunder Palace had finished reading the arbitration token. The crystal-like arbitration token fell into the hands of the Swift Wind Sage. He took it and looked at the frowning Fairy Xianhua and said with a smile, although my Thunder Palace sect isn't one of the 3 great sects in the country of Xi, we're not easy to bully. No matter who comes, we'll teach them a lesson. With that, Swift Wind Sage's hand flickered with lightning. Crack! The arbitration token was crushed by him and flew to the front of the Swift Wind Sage and said, Sage, this disciple requests to lead the disciples of the Heavenly Thunder Palace to fight the enemies to the death. Good. The Swift Wind Sage nodded and said, since junior brother Lei Meng has such an idea, I will certainly satisfy you. Why don't you come and discuss with us? As the Swift Wind Sage said, although the Thunder Palace sect wasn't one of the 3 great sects in the country of Xi, it had many disciples and the Thunder Mo mountain range covered a vast area. 2 days passed quickly in the time it took for the Thunder Palace sect to mobilize the troops. Out of the 10 disciples of the Thunder Palace sect, 6 of them were sent out. Among these 6 disciples, many of them directly formed battle teams outside the sect protecting Grand Array, and joined with the sect protecting Grand Array in preparation to face the enemy. During these 2 days, the scouting disciples returned one after another. However, the information they could provide was limited. Apart from knowing that the Imperial Thunder Sect was surrounded by unknown cultivators, Lei Meng Daoist and the rest still had no idea who these cultivators were. Moreover, due to the limited strength of the scouting disciples, the cultivators besieging the Thunder Palace sect also formed battle teams. The scouting disciples also didn't know how many cultivators were besieging the Thunder Palace sect. Everyone. Fairy Xianhua's brows furrowed even more. Looking at the 6 great lightning palace masters and the numerous nascent soul disciples, she said, the situation is getting more and more urgent. Although I can't figure out who these cultivators are, from what I see, they are either sword cultivators in disguise or heavenly demon sect disciples besieging the mountain. I remember that a similar situation happened to the Profound Heaven sect several hundred years ago. Therefore, we need to send a rescue signal to the three great sects in the country of Xi. Junior Brother Lei Meng, what do you think? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qijian. Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, give it as a reward, and thanks to the Alliance Master Dongfang Yushan, Shfeng 99, Don't Smoke Buxing, 375665, HS Flow, Yi Qitian Yi Shuaihui. Lonely Days with Prosperity, Little Jianjian, White MO 2577, reading the original version for the Cultivation God. Loyal fan of the Cultivation God. Spiritual Master Shao, Smoke and Clouds 999, GUF 8547985, and so on. Chapter 5140. Sect Master. Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master nodded. Sect Master is right. I had already sent a disciple to break out of the encirclement and send a message before the Immortal Alliance's special envoy arrived. Good. Fairy Xianhua was very gratified, and she said with a smile, if the Sword Cultivators or the Sky Fiend sect were to receive the news and launch an attack from outside the encirclement, then we'll launch a pincer attack from both inside and outside. We'll definitely be able to annihilate the Sword Cultivators and the Sky Fiend sect. Sect Master. Swift Wind Spiritual Master took advantage of the situation and said, the Sword Cultivators or the Heavenly Demon sect's action this time was very secretive. Not only did our Imperial Thunder sect not receive the slightest bit of information, even the other sects in the country of Xi did not send out any signal. It seems that in the information aspect of our Tao cultivators, we really did not invest much. This disciple suggests that our Imperial Thunder sect should use the influence of the Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce to strengthen our ability in this aspect. Fairy Xianhua nodded slightly and said, you're right. With so many enemies at the foot of the mountain, we realize that this kind of thing must never happen again. The Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce will be temporarily under your Heavenly Thunder Palace's charge. You should start preparing now. When you become the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace, this seat will let you take charge of this matter. I don't agree. Without waiting for Swift Wind Spiritual Master to speak, Crazy Heaven roared not far away. The Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce was established by my good grandson. How can it be controlled by him? Swift Wind Spiritual Master smiled slightly and said, Sect Master, Crazy Heaven is right. The Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce was established by Qian Diheng. It's not appropriate for this disciple to rashly join. What's not appropriate about it? Fairy Xianhua raised her eyebrows and said, You're the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace and Qian Diheng is a disciple of Heavenly Thunder Palace. It's natural for you to control the Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce. Besides, although the Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce was established by Qian Diheng, its development was supported by the Heavenly Thunder Palace and my Imperial Thunder sect. Without the Imperial Thunder sect as the foundation, would the Rejuvenation Chamber of Commerce be where it is today? Cough cough. Thunder Tablet Spiritual Master coughed softly and said, Sect Master, this matter is of great importance. It's better to let Swift Wind Spiritual Master consider it first. After the crisis of my Imperial Thunder sect passes, it won't be too late for us to discuss it. Wild Heaven was about to jump up, but after hearing Thunder Tablet Reverend's words, he snorted coldly and said no more. However, in his mind, he had already begun to consider whether he should let Qian Diheng go to the Myriad Thunder Valley after this. Sect Master. At this moment, a sharp voice suddenly rang out from the distance. A Foundation Establishment disciple of the Imperial Thunder sect flew over with a sound transmission talisman in his hand. His face was filled with panic. Thunder Tomb Reverend scolded in a low voice, Don't panic, speak slowly. The Foundation Establishment disciple's face reddened. After he flew closer, he took a deep breath and handed over the sound-transmitting talisman. He lowered his voice and said, Sect Master, Masters, there is a message from the patrolling disciples on the east side of the Thunder Mo mountain range. Fairy Xianhua looked at Reverend Lei Meng and asked, What is it that made you so flustered? Sect Master. The Foundation building disciple hesitated for a moment before replying. The cultivators on the east side of the Thunder Mountain range have all revealed their true appearances. They're wearing the Taoist robes of the Shanghua sect, and they're approaching our Imperial Thunder sect. If I'm not mistaken, the Shanghua sect has launched a sneak attack on our Imperial Thunder sect. What? Shanghua sect? Not to mention Fairy Xianhua. Even Thunder Tomb Reverend was dumbfounded. He cried out involuntarily, "This information! Can the patrolling disciples be sure?" Yes. The Foundation establishment disciple nodded vigorously. The East Side sent a total of 7 patrolling disciples, and they all saw it with their own eyes. Moreover, how could the patrolling disciples mistake the robes of the Shanghua sect's disciples? Damn it! Fairy Xianhua said in a low voice, "I'm afraid it's the Heavenly Demon sect pretending to be the Shanghua sect's disciples." Sect Master. While they were talking, another Foundation establishment disciple flew over rapidly from another direction. This disciple's forehead was covered in sweat, and his eyes flashed with panic. It was obvious that there was another bad news. Thunder Tomb Reverend didn't scold him again. When the disciple flew closer, he asked, "Did the unknown besieging cultivators reveal their identities?" The Foundation establishment disciple looked at the previous messenger disciple and understood. He nodded and said, "Yes, disciple received a message that the cultivators on the east side of the Thunder Mo mountain range have revealed their identities. Damn it." Without waiting for the Foundation establishment disciple to finish, Lei Tingzi cursed in a low voice, "Sure enough, it's the Heavenly Demon sect pretending to be the Shanghua sect's disciples." Hearing Lei Tingzi's words, the Foundation establishment disciple didn't dare to speak again. After Lei Tingzi finished speaking, he looked at the messenger disciple in front of him in surprise and said, "Masters, the cultivators on the east side are wearing the Taoist robes of the Seven Skills sect." Ah? This time Fairy Xianhua and the rest were even more surprised than when they heard about the Shanghua sect. They looked at each other, and their eyes were filled with confusion. Thunder Tomb Reverend was the first to speak. If it were sword cultivators surrounding the mountain, they might have pretended to be sword cultivators, but they wouldn't pretend to be Taoist cultivators. If it were the Heavenly Demon sect, they would only need to pretend to be one sect. There's no need to pretend to be multiple sects. Thunder Tomb Reverend shook his head and said, "Disciple has a different opinion. What if the Heavenly Demon sect wants to create the illusion of being besieged by various sects and make our Imperial Thunder sect surrender without a fight?" "Yes, that's possible." Lei Tingzi hurriedly nodded and said, "If the 3 great sects of the country of Shi besieged our Imperial Thunder sect at the same time, even this old man would be the first to retreat." Without waiting for Lei Tingzi to finish his words, another Foundation establishment disciple flew over like a madman from afar. Without waiting for him to come close, he shouted, "Reporting to Sect Master, a disciple from the south side of our Imperial Thunder sect has sent a message. One of the 3 great sects of the country of Shi Xuanyan School has revealed themselves and is closing in on our Mount Lama." Hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded. They really didn't understand the situation. Whether it was the Thunder Tomb Reverend or Lei Tingzi, what they said was just an armchair strategist. What they said was only a possibility, but they didn't expect that the 3 great sects of the country of Shi would really besiege the Imperial Thunder sect. Was this a disguise by the Heavenly Demon sect, or was it really an attack by the 3 sects? Thinking of this, everyone looked at the north side of the Mount Lama at the same time. Until now, that was the only place that hadn't received any news from the patrolling disciples. They didn't have to wait for too long. In the time it took to eat a meal, another Foundation establishment disciple rushed back on the flying boat at lightning speed, shouting, "Reporting to Sect Master, something bad has happened." However, to the disciple's surprise, when he flew closer, jumped off the flying boat, and flew to the front of Fairy Xianhua and the others, no matter if it was Fairy Xianhua or Thunder Tomb Reverend, there was no change in their expressions. Even their eyelashes didn't move in the slightest. Damn it! The disciple couldn't help but feel ashamed of his panic. He thought to himself, only the nascent soul masters can keep their composure. I still have to cultivate more. Since the nascent soul masters didn't panic, the Foundation establishment disciple's heart instantly calmed down. He landed in front of Fairy Xianhua and bowed. "A patrolling disciple from the north side of the Imperial Thunder sect has sent an urgent battle report. The cultivators who besieged our Imperial Thunder sect have revealed their identities. They are disciples of the Huanhua sect." They have formed a team and are pressing towards our Mount Lama. Currently, the number of Huanhua sect disciples is unknown. Everyone was silent. The entire sect seemed to be imprisoned by a great calamity. An indescribable aura shrouded the space. It was as if countless large hands were strangling everyone's throats, making them unable to breathe. At the same time, the oppressive aura was like a large hand gripping the entire Mount Lama. The last disciple who sent the message was somewhat surprised. He looked at Fairy Xianhua's numb expression and suddenly turned to look at the other 3 disciples who sent the message and exclaimed, "Senior Martial Brother, could it be that the other 3 aren't disciples of the Huanhua sect?" The Foundation Establishment disciple who sent the message first looked at Fairy Xianhua, and the others with sorrow in his eyes. He said, "Our Imperial Thunder sect is now besieged by the top 4 Dao cultivation sects in the country of Xi. Top 4. The last disciple who sent the message swayed and almost fell from the sky. When he steadied himself, he exclaimed, "Splendid sect, Xuanyan school, Qiqiao sect, and Huanhua sect sent their disciples to besiege our Imperial Thunder sect. How is this possible?" Fairy Xianhua took a deep breath and looked at the Imperial Thunder sect disciples on her left and right. She said word by word, "This is the truth. If Heavenly Demon sect didn't pretend to be besieged by the 4 sects to intimidate us, then the 4 sects would have already joined forces with us. That means the 4 sects have long since joined forces to divide up the foundation of our Imperial Thunder sect. No wonder we didn't know anything about enemy cultivators surrounding the mountain." Daoist Swiftwind's eyes turned and said, "Honorable Sect Master, even if the disciples of the 4 sects really besieged our Imperial Thunder sect, I'm afraid they aren't the elites of the 4 sects." "Oh, why?" Fairy Xianhua asked, puzzled. "It's very simple," Daoist Swiftwind replied. "If they were the elites of the 4 sects, they wouldn't have concealed themselves and wouldn't have waited for 2 days. With the strength of our Imperial Thunder sect, not to mention the 4 sects, even if one sect attacked with all their strength, our Imperial Thunder sect would be doomed. At this point, it's useless to say more." Fairy Xianhua sneered. "The 4 sects have already besieged the mountain. There's no need to speculate anymore. If you want to fight, let's fight over there." Hearing Fairy Xianhua's powerful words, Daoist Thundermeng nodded solemnly and said, "Honorable Sect Master is right. I agree. Since we've already shed all pretense of cordiality, who cares if they are the Heavenly Demon sect or the 4 great sects of the country of Xi?" Daoist Swiftwind wanted to say something, but when he saw Fairy Xianhua's unexpected proposal, he quickly shut his mouth and looked at Lei Tingzi and the others. Lei Tingzi was also a cultivator, who had experienced the war between immortals and demons. He looked into the distance and said, "Imperial Thunder sect was defeated in the War of Sword Dao several hundred years ago. Since then, the sect's strength has declined again and again. Now it can't be compared with Huanhua sect. They must have seen the advantage and sent out their troops. Honorable Sect Master, I request to go and meet the splendid sect. I want to let them know that although our Imperial Thunder sect has declined, we still have the heart to fight and the spirit to win. If they dare to come to our Mount Lama, we'll definitely make them return in defeat. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please subscribe to it at Qijian. Vote for it, vote for it, vote for it, collect it, reward it. Chapter 5141. Approved. Fairy Xianhua didn't hesitate at all. She took out a command arrow and threw it to Lei Tingzi. Lei Tingzi caught the command arrow and roared, "Disciples of Sun Thunder Palace and Converted Thunder Palace, where are you?" "Here." The nascent soul disciples of Sun Thunder Palace and Converted Thunder Palace shouted in unison. Lei Tingzi was full of heroism as he shouted, "Follow this old man to annihilate splendid sect." "Yes." Another deafening voice rang out. The nascent soul disciples of 2 Thunder Palaces followed Lei Tingzi and flew away. Soon after, they led the other disciples of 2 Thunder Palaces into battle, preparing to leave the sect-protecting Grand Formation to meet the splendid sect disciples head-on. Seeing that Lei Tingzi was about to cut off all means of retreat, Thundermeng Daoist led Thunder Palace and Thunder Palace to prepare as well. Zhishuanzi led Thunder Palace and Shangyunzi led Thunder Palace to prepare as well. Not daring to be negligent, Swift Wind Daoist stepped forward and bowed, "Honorable Sect Master, This disciple is willing to lead the disciples of Heavenly Thunder Palace and Earth Thunder Palace to meet the Seven Possibilities sect. This disciple guarantees that, if the Seven Possibilities sect cultivators want to approach Imperial Thunder sect, they will have to step over this disciple's corpse. Good. Fairy Xianhua was very happy. She took out a command arrow and handed it to Swift Wind Taoist, saying, "This seat now orders you to take charge of Heavenly Thunder Palace. As the Palace Master of Heavenly Thunder Palace, you will meet the Seven Possibilities sect cultivators head-on." "Thank you, Honorable Sect Master." Swift Wind Taoist took the command arrow and turned his head, saying, "Disciples, heed my command." At this moment, a divine sense as fine as rain and as vast as a river descended from the distant sky. A slightly surprised and dignified voice rang out like a clap of thunder. "Eh? What's going on? Are the four great sects besieging Imperial Thunder sect?" The appearance of this voice was extremely strange. The people of Imperial Thunder sect were completely unprepared. Even though they were separated by the Grand Formation, they felt as if the voice was right next to their ears. "Who?" Fairy Xianhua frowned and looked at the sky outside the array. In just a moment, several rays of light arrived and stopped before the gate of the Imperial Thunder sect. The person in front was around 40 years old and looked very dignified. He gave off an indescribable temperament that was like the sun. This temperament wasn't a spell, but it made people feel close to him, as if he was their only friend. However, this cultivator was frowning as he looked around the Imperial Thunder sect. His eyes were filled with wisdom as if they could pierce through the space and see the disciples of the four countries surrounding the Imperial Thunder sect. There were 3 people standing behind this cultivator. The cultivator in the middle had a tall stature and wore a brocade robe. Wasn't he the handsome Dupeng? On Dupeng's left was another cultivator with a similar figure to him. This cultivator was very young, had a white face, and looked incomparably handsome. Wasn't he the previous sect master of the magnificent flower sect, Sun Yunzi? Compared to these 2 people, the cultivator on Dupeng's right was not worth mentioning. This cultivator was an old man with a gold core cultivation base. His face was full of wrinkles and his eyes were filled with respect. He intentionally stayed behind the 2 people and seemed to be a little afraid. Fairy Xianhua didn't recognize the 3 people. But when she saw Sun Yunzi, her eyes couldn't help but burn with anger. She hurriedly looked into the depths of the Thunder Mountain range. Unfortunately, not only did Master Lei Ting and the others disappear, but Wu Qing and the other 2 also didn't return. When the 4 cultivators appeared, an indescribable pressure was emitted from the person in front. It seeped into the Imperial Thunder sect's array like a fragrance. Whether it was Fairy Xianhua, Fairy Yaofeng, Thundermeng Taoist, Lei Ting, or the others who were preparing to lead the troops, they were all affected by this aura. They all stopped in place and seemed to have realized something. They silently looked at this cultivator whose cultivation base couldn't be seen and waited for him to speak. Alas, why bother? The cultivator sighed and withdrew his gaze. He lowered his head and looked at Fairy Xianhua inside the sect's array. He spoke with compassion. "Are you the sect master of the Imperial Thunder sect, Fairy Xianhua?" Fairy Xianhua didn't dare to be negligent. She hurriedly bowed and said, "Junior is indeed Xianhua. May I know who Senior is?" "This old man is Luo Xingtian." The cultivator faintly replied, "I'm now the deputy leader of the Immortal Alliance of the Dawn Rain continent." As soon as Luo Xingtian said this, although Fairy Xianhua and the others were already prepared, when they saw a senior with such a cultivation level, they were shocked and hurriedly bowed. Junior and the others greet Vice Alliance leader Luo. No need to be polite." Luo Xingtian smiled and raised his hand. "Everyone please rise." Unfortunately, Fairy Xianhua didn't rise. Instead, she bowed again and said, "Junior has long heard of Senior's name. Unfortunately, Junior didn't participate in the War of the Immortals and Demons. Today, seeing Senior, I thank Senior on behalf of my Imperial Thunder sect." Luo Xingtian naturally understood the meaning behind Fairy Xianhua's words, but he didn't point it out. He just went with the flow and said, "That's what this old man should do as the deputy leader of the Immortal Alliance. There's no need to thank me. Senior is too polite." Fairy Xianhua and the others got up and flew closer. Then they respectfully said, Senior has done a lot for our Dawn Rain continent. It's only right for us to thank you. Since Senior has come to our Imperial Thunder Sect, Junior should have opened the gate and invited Senior to enter our Imperial Thunder Sect. We should have invited Senior to Lightning Peak's Lightning Thunder Hall. However, Senior should have seen that the four great sects of the state of She disregarded justice and suddenly besieged our Imperial Thunder Sect. Junior really didn't dare to be negligent in the slightest. Junior didn't dare to open the sect-protecting formation. Luo Xingtian smiled and waved his hand. It's fine. This old man didn't specially come to the Imperial Thunder Sect. I just happened to pass by and received a message from a disciple of the Immortal Alliance. This old man was a little curious after reading the message, so I came to take a look. However, who would have thought that I would encounter Du He, Sun Yunzi, and Li Feng on the way? They didn't say anything about the Imperial Thunder Sect, but at this point, Luo Xingtian stopped smiling and looked at Sun Yunzi. This old man seems to have understood something. Reporting to the deputy leader, Sun Yunzi hurriedly bowed and said, "This matter has nothing to do with I just received a message from my son and wanted to seek justice for him. Everything that you saw was also beyond I's expectations." Oh. Luo Xingtian stared blankly and looked at Du He. Du He, could it be that this was your doing? When Du He heard this, his expression changed greatly. He hurriedly bowed and said, "Lord Alliance Leader, you've misunderstood this disciple. This disciple just came to the Dawn Rain continent. How could I possibly have such an influence? This disciple only came to confirm something nearby. How could it cause such a huge uproar?" Seeing the two spirit-severing cultivators shirking their responsibilities, Luo Xingtian's gaze fell on the Golden Core cultivator and asked, "Li Feng, could it be that this was your doing?" When Li Feng heard this, he knelt on the ground and kowtowed. "Lord Alliance Leader, this little one is only a Golden Core disciple. How could I have such strength? This disciple was bullied to this extent by the Imperial Thunder Sect, and didn't even dare to say a word. How could this disciple invite so many disciples?" Luo Xingtian frowned and asked, "You didn't invite those Shanghua sect disciples?" Li Feng shook his head like a rattle drum and said, "Lord Alliance Leader is wise. This disciple didn't see any Shanghua sect disciples at all." Fairy Xianhua looked at the unfamiliar Li Feng. When Li Feng finished speaking, she hurriedly said, "Lord Alliance Leader, who is this Li Feng? How did my Imperial Thunder Sect bully him?" Before Li Feng could speak, Sun Yunzi sneered and said, "Fairy Xianhua, don't you know what your Imperial Thunder Sect has done? Normally, this old man doesn't care about the Shanghua sect and even the matters of the younger generation. However, after hearing Li Fengji's words, this old man is still filled with righteous indignation. Your Imperial Thunder Sect relies on the fact that you're a famous sect and actually encroaches on the territory of a small sect. If this matter is revealed, won't others laugh their teeth off?" Fairy Xianhua suddenly realized and exclaimed, He's the sect master of the barking sect?" Sun Yunzi had a mocking expression. "It seems so. You occupied their territory and didn't even recognize their sect master. The Imperial Thunder Sect is really shameless." Fairy Xianhua was so angry that her face turned purple. However, before Fairy Xianhua finished speaking, Sun Yunzi bowed to Luo Xingtian and said, "Vice Alliance Leader Luo, when Lord asked me why I was waiting for you, Junior didn't have the nerve to explain. In fact, my son has already appealed to the Immortal Alliance's adjudication hall. It seems that the arbitration order has already been issued. Li Feng is afraid that the Imperial Thunder Sect won't put the Immortal Alliance's adjudication hall in their eyes and won't execute the arbitration order. So Junior came forward to support him." Arbitration order? When Luo Xingtian heard this, a strange expression appeared on his face. He looked at Li Feng and then at Fairy Xianhua and said, "This old man doesn't know what arbitration order it is, but this old man received a message saying that 2 special envoys from the Immortal Alliance's adjudication hall came to the Imperial Thunder Sect to deliver the arbitration order. There has been no news of them since then, and it's unknown whether they are dead or alive. So this old man came to take a look. Could it be that everything has come together? How is that possible?" Fairy Xianhua hurriedly said, "Lord Alliance Leader, the 2 special envoys from the Immortal Alliance's adjudication hall, Xianyang and Yishuaihui, left the Imperial Thunder Sect 2 days ago. Oh? Is that so? Luo Xingtian was a little surprised and asked curiously. Since they left 2 days ago, how could there be no news of them? Sun Yunzi smiled and said, Lord Alliance Leader, you are really kind. Could it be that you didn't think about it? Would the Imperial Thunder Sect kill them to silence them, and not admit that they received the arbitration order? How is that possible? Luo Xingtian smiled and said, didn't they just say it? They saw the 2 special envoys from the Immortal Alliance. Since they saw them, they naturally received the arbitration order. Lord Alliance Leader, you will definitely uphold justice for this little one. Li Feng didn't get up and kowtowed at this time. This little one worked hard to establish the barbarian sect. I thought that by being close to the Imperial Thunder Sect, I would be able to lean on a big tree and enjoy the shade. Who knew that they would ignore this little one's hardships and take away a few hills in this little one's sect? P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark, reward, and thank you for all forms of support. Chapter 5142. Luo Xingtian waved his hand and said with a smile, you're talking nonsense. Since it's a hill, how could it be taken away so easily? It's not like it's some secret technique. How is it not possible? Li Feng gritted his teeth and said as if he was cutting off all means of retreat, those hills were originally favored by this little one and I spent more than 10 years on them. However, the Imperial Thunder Sect felt that the hills were a threat to them and insisted that the hills belonged to them. They forcibly expanded their formation to protect the hills. Hearing Li Feng's sad story, Luo Xingtian frowned and looked at Fairy Xianhua with displeasure. If that's the case, then it's your Imperial Thunder Sect's fault. Isn't it just a few hills? How could it affect the sect protecting formation? It doesn't matter if it's occupied by small sections. Even the secular people know to give way to neighbors. Imperial Thunder Sect is such a big cultivation sect. How could they be so stingy? Hearing Li Feng distorting the truth, Fairy Xianhua was already furious. When Luo Xingtian finished speaking, she hurriedly argued, Lord Alliance Master, it's absolutely not like what Li Feng said. The hills he mentioned are the peaks of my Imperial Thunder Sect's sect-protecting Grand Array. My Imperial Thunder Sect's array has long been set up on them. How could they be the hills he mentioned? Alliance Master, please judge clearly. So it's like this. Luo Xingtian muttered and raised his hand. Show Buddha the arbitration order of the Judgment Hall. This? Daoist Swiftwind was dumbfounded. His face flushed red and he hurriedly flew over from afar and said respectfully, it's all this junior's fault. Oh, who are you? What did you do wrong? Luo Xingtian was confused and asked curiously. Daoist Swiftwind hurriedly replied, Junior. Junior was really angry just now. I destroyed the arbitration order. Luo Xingtian snorted. Although there was no special expression on his face, anyone could see the displeasure in his eyes. Luo Xingtian calmly said, destroying the arbitration order is not a big crime. It just represents the Imperial Thunder Sect's contempt for the Immortal Alliance's ruling, and does not intend to accept the Immortal Alliance's ruling. The Imperial Thunder Sect will bear all the consequences. The Immortal Alliance will support the Barbarian Sect's request. Daoist Swiftwind was helpless and apologized to Fairy Xianhua. Sect Master, this is my fault. There's no need. Fairy Xianhua sneered and waved her hand. What crime have you committed? My Imperial Thunder Sect has no intention of accepting the arbitration order. It makes no difference whether it's destroyed or not. Since the head of the Imperial Thunder Sect has said so, this old man will not explore this so-called hill. Luo Xingtian nodded. The specific matters will naturally be handled by the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment. This old man will only ask about the 2 special envoys whose fate is unknown. Daoist Jeffing hurriedly replied, as you know, Alliance Master, the 2 special envoys have left the Imperial Thunder Sect long ago. If they haven't returned, you might as well ask the disciples of the 4 sects who have besieged my Imperial Thunder Sect. At this point, everyone knew that the ones besieging the Imperial Thunder Sect were definitely not the 4 sects' disciples that the Heavenly Demon Sect had pretended to be. That's true. Luo Xingtian nodded. The four great sects of the country of Shi made such a big commotion. This old man is also puzzled. Why would they suddenly attack the Imperial Thunder sect? Luo Xingtian then said to Sun Yunzi, Sun Yunzi, go and call the leaders of the four sects over. This old man will ask them what's going on. Yes, this junior obeys. Sun Yunzi replied and disappeared in a flash. It was just a matter of a meal. Four nascent soul cultivators flew over with Sun Yunzi. When Fairy Xianhua and the others saw the appearance of these people, their noses became crooked from anger. Wasn't that withered old man Qi Jianghai of the magnificent flower sect? Wasn't that old man Taoist master Withered Leaf of the Seven Skills sect? As for the other two beautiful and charming women, weren't they Fairy Poyu of the Xuanyan school and Fairy Bihua of the Washing Flower sect? The four of them were all nascent soul cultivators who were familiar with the Imperial Thunder sect. Who would have thought that they would suddenly reveal a vicious expression and want to carve up the Imperial Thunder sect's property? Fellow Taoists, Fairy Xianhua said sarcastically, I haven't seen you for a long time. I didn't expect that you would all come here today knowing that I miss you. Magnificent flower sect's Qi Jianghai snorted. Fairy Xianhua, don't try to curry favor with me. This old man was really blind before. I didn't think that your Imperial Thunder sect would be so despicable that you would even bully a small sect like the Barking sect. Today, for the justice of the heavenly Tao, for the justice of our country of Shi's cultivation sects, this old man has brought his disciples here. If we can't uphold justice, we'd rather fight. Good heavens! Thunderming Taoist sneered. You speak in such a dignified manner. You're just coveting my Mount Lama. What nonsense is this about justice? Seven Skills sect's Taoist master Withered Leaf laughed. He pointed at Thundermeng Taoist and said, Lei Meng, I've always respected you, but I didn't expect that you would also bully the weak. Before Li Feng brought this matter to the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment, we already knew about it. However, we're only cultivators from the country of Shi. We don't have the authority to govern the Imperial Thunder sect, so we paid close attention to this matter. When we heard that the Immortal Alliance's Hall of Judgment had decided to arbitrate, we all clapped our hands in satisfaction. However, the Barking sect is weak and the Immortal Alliance's Lord Alliance is kind and benevolent. We were afraid that the Imperial Thunder sect would be thick-skinned and refuse to accept the arbiter. So your sect master let you lead the Seven Skills sect's disciples here? Taoist Master Swiftwind asked with a cold smile. Seven Skills sect's Taoist Master Withered Leaf smiled and replied, You're wrong. These Seven Skills sect's disciples came of their own accord. They didn't come out of the sect master's will. Everything that happened here has nothing to do with my Seven Skills sect. We came for the sake of justice. Fairy Xianhua's face turned ashen. She glanced at the Xuanyan school's Fairy Poyu and the Huanhua sect's Fairy Baihua and asked, You naturally came for the sake of justice. You didn't come under the orders of your sect master? That's right. The two female cultivators nodded. Your Imperial Thunder sect's current actions have already provoked public anger. If you don't restrain yourselves, I'm afraid there really will be a war. Fairy Xianhua wanted to argue, but when she saw the four nascent soul cultivators and Sun Yunzi's cold expression, she sighed. How could she not know that this matter had already been discussed by the four sects? They had only used Li Feng's Barking sect as a bait, and then waited for them to do the evil deed of destroying the Imperial Thunder sect? When she thought of this, Fairy Xianhua hastily looked at Luo Xingtian, pondering how to convince the Immortal Alliance's Vice Alliance Master of the Imperial Thunder sect's innocence. Unfortunately, Luo Xingtian didn't listen to the four nascent soul cultivators. When Fairy Xianhua finished speaking, he immediately asked, This old man wants to ask you, did you see the two special envoys of my Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall? The four looked at each other and shook their heads. Reporting to Lord Alliance Master, when Senior Sun Yunzi came to inquire, he already mentioned this matter. We also asked the disciples before we left. They only saw the two special envoys fly into the Imperial Thunder sect and didn't see them fly out. Inverting black and white. Fairy Xianhua gnashed her teeth and spat out these words. She didn't argue anymore. Fairy Xianhua, Luo Xingtian said sternly, Did you hear that? This junior heard it. Fairy Xianhua's body felt weak and her voice trembled. They have already lost their conscience. How can their words be taken seriously? Since you feel that the Imperial Thunder sect is wrongly accused, then what evidence do you have? What reason do you have for this old man to believe your Imperial Thunder sect? Luo Xingtian asked indifferently. At this moment, Daoist Swift Wind hurriedly said, Lord Alliance Master, you are the Vice Alliance Master of the Immortal Alliance. This junior has a presumptuous request that I hope Lord Alliance Master will consider. And speak. Luo Xingtian nodded. The whereabouts of the two special envoys of the Immortal Alliance's Judgment Hall are important, Daoist Swift Wind said respectfully, but in the end it's just 2 lives. Now that the 4 great sects of the state of Shi have besieged my Mount Lama, my Imperial Thunder sect has already sent out a battle team to prepare for battle. After the great battle of Dao and Sword, there have been many battles between sects, but today's imminent battle is rare. In this battle, the number of casualties won't be in the hundreds, but in the thousands or tens of thousands. Senior, as the Vice Alliance Master of the Immortal Alliance, you can't ignore these lives. Luo Xingtian seemed to be in a difficult position. However, he looked at the crowd and then at the Imperial Thunder sect disciples guarding the edge of the array. He nodded and said, in that case, this old man will make a temporary ruling. Sect Master of the Imperial Thunder sect, first remove the undecided hills from your array. These hills will be temporarily managed by the Immortal Alliance. You all should also appeal to the Judgment Hall of the Immortal Alliance about this matter. This old man will also issue an Alliance Master's order to the Judgment Hall, and have them investigate carefully to find out the truth. What do you think? Fairy Xianhua argued. The problem is that these mountains have been set up with arrays. Removing the arrays will affect the power of my Imperial Thunder sect protecting Grand Array. This junior feels that it's inappropriate. Luo Xingtian ignored Fairy Xianhua's argument. He turned to Sun Yunzi and the others and said, as for you all, if you believe in this old man and the Judgment Hall of the Immortal Alliance, you might as well return today. You are all sects of the state of Shi and should support each other. You shouldn't go to war at the slightest provocation. Sun Yunzi lowered his head and thought for a moment. He nodded and said, since this junior is fated to meet Lord Alliance Master and the Imperial Thunder sect has the intention to correct their mistakes, then this junior will definitely not disappoint Lord Alliance Master. After the Imperial Thunder sect removes the mountain protecting Grand Array, this junior will definitely persuade the 4 great sects of the state of Shi to leave. What do you all think? Luo Xingtian was very satisfied and looked at Qi Jianghai and the others. Qi Jianghai smiled and said, we came for justice, fairness, and justice. As long as the Imperial Thunder sect no longer bullies the Barking sect, we naturally won't make things difficult for the Imperial Thunder sect. I'll wait for the Imperial Thunder sect to return those hills to the Barking sect. Then we'll leave immediately. P.S. Fellow Taoists who like this book, please go to Qidian to subscribe to support, vote for a monthly vote, vote for a recommendation vote, bookmark, reward, and thank all forms of support. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.